Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. I am in Konoha. I have 10 skill bars. Chapter 1. Konoha 63 years. At the gate of the ninja school, looking at the comprehensive test list posted. Moonlight Shiyu saw his name in the 170th place. Sighed silently, turn around and get out of the crowd, and walk towards home. She will be graduating in a few months, and Shiyu is very helpless now, saying that if she travels well, she can become a boss. But it has been the 12th year since I came to this world with all my plans. Same age as Naruto, even in the same class. But this time traveler myself is too ordinary, like ninjutsu, physical skills, and chakra. Everything is average. Apart from his appearance, he can compete with Sasuke, and there is nothing he can show. The only fortunate thing is that he is handsome, easy to attract attention, and he is familiar with the protagonist team. Even if the strength is not good in the future, it should not be difficult for Naruto, the future Hokage, to take care of himself a little bit. But it's hard to come here, don't you regret living a mediocre life? Pity. Of course it's a pity, Shiyu doesn't want this. But what can be done about such a thing? Talent is not as good as life experience, and there is nothing outstanding. The Moonlight Clan. A small family of a dozen or so people is nothing in Konoha. The most famous ninja in the clan is Moonlight Hayate's Jonin, who is now Konoha. Yugong Haifeng should be considered as Shiyu's cousin according to seniority. Due to his mediocre talent, his cousin only met and said hello a few times. Go home. Shiyu's parents died during the Nine Tails Rebellion, and the rest of the Moonlight Clan took on the responsibility of taking care of Shiyu. In addition to helping Shiyu collect her parents' inheritance, she will pay Shiyu's living expenses every month, and even the money for the ninja school is also paid by several other members of the Moonlight Clan. Except for some money, the parents' inheritance is this house, with 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. It's not too big, but it's quite spacious for Shiyu living alone. Open the refrigerator and take out a can of soda. Puff. Cuckoo. After drinking most of the can in one gulp, Shiyu went straight back to the room and lay down on the bed, staring at the ceiling in a daze. It seems that after graduation, I can only live my life as an ordinary genin doing nothing. God-level skill system activated. Hearing the inexplicable voice, Shiyu straightened up like a carp and sat up. I really have. System, waiting for you is so hard. 12 years, 12 full years. Do you know how I live? The smile on Shiyu's face when he was about to cry was very awkward. Mistake. Hey. Don't be like this. Let me stop talking about you. Now Shiyu's every nerve is beating crazily. After waiting for 12 years, the system finally came, and something happened at this time. If the system is gone, Shiyu wants to die. Trying to restart. Yes, restart can solve 99% of the problems, it should be fine. Restart failed. System additional functions are damaged. System mall module is missing. The system task module is missing. System template module is missing. Lost. Are you kidding me? Anyway, let yourself take a look at what the complete system looks like. It's just a supplementary function, it's fine without it. As long as there is no problem with the core of the system. Shiyu clutched the bedsheet nervously, staring intently at the light curtain that suddenly appeared in his field of vision. The flashing wrong words on it made Shiyu's heart feel like he was on a roller coaster. System core module is missing. Mistake. It's over. The core module is gone, so there is no drama to sing. The GG system just appeared, this is too stretched. Is there a more shameful system than this? Checking. The only remaining module. The skill bar module. The skill bar module is 70% damaged, trying to start it. Skill column. What's the use of just giving a skill bar? And it's still damaged. Skill bar open. Currently there are 7 empty slots in the passive skill bar. 3 active skill columns. Detect the active skill bar. The core data of the skill is lost, whether to repair it. Repair. It can be repaired, of course it is. In a good system, there is only 1 skill bar module left that can barely run. If this is not repaired, even the last skill bar will be gone. Collecting active skill column data. Active skill 1. Gluttony reference mark. Effect. Hot. Active skill 2. Reference mark player. Effect. Kunjin copy hot 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 hot. Active skill 3. Daxian reference mark. Effect. Hot 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 hot. Good guy, just give yourself garbled codes. Can this still be fixed? The active skill bar is being repaired, the repair time is unknown. Go away. The repair time is unknown, and I don't know when I will be able to know what these 3 active skills are. What about the passive skill bar? Passive skill 1, empty. Passive skill 2, empty. Passive skill 3, empty. Passive skill 7, empty. Empty skill bar, nothing. The active skills are fine, but there are a bunch of garbled characters. What the hell is this passive skill? It's completely lost. Detect all passive skills are lost. Host can install passive skills by itself. Install it yourself. How to install? What is the use of installing passive skills? Skills mastered by the current host. Chakra refining technique, school level gymnastics, clone technique, transformation technique, body replacement technique. Basic kunai throwing technique, basic cooking, basic walking, basic jumping. Basic language, basic mathematics, basic communication. Basic eating, basic drinking. Shiyu, is this even counting food and drink as a skill for yourself? Does wiping your ass count? Advanced wiping skills. Roll, why is wiping ass premium? Are you good at wiping your own ass? Shiyu looks helpless now. Why does the remaining skill column in this system look so unreliable? Maybe this is fate. Shiyu glanced at the first chakra refining technique that was regarded as a skill by the system. Click casually and throw it into the passive skill bar. Passive skill 1 installed successfully. Is this even installed? Any functions. Current passive skill 1. Chakra refining technique. Effect. Combining physical energy and spiritual energy to refine chakra. Running. Run. This is up and running. Put it in and start right away. What chakra refining does not need too much explanation. The second class to enter the ninja school is about how to refine chakra. Although everyone has chakra in theory, ordinary people cannot extract chakra. Only those who are gifted, that is, those who have a certain talent in chakra, can combine physical energy and spiritual energy to extract chakra. For 6 years, Shiyu continued to refine chakra day and night. But the talents and qualifications are limited, and the current Shiyu chakra is only in the last echelon in the ninja school. In terms of the amount of chakra, there is still a long way to go to meet the requirements of genin. It is not possible to refine chakra 24 hours a day. Both physical energy and mental energy need to be restored, and often after several times of refining, it is impossible to continue to need a certain amount of recovery time. Different people, different talents can extract different quality of chakra every day. But no matter what kind of genius it is, there are limits to how much physical energy and mental energy can be consumed. Once the limit is reached, chakra can no longer be refined. Perhaps it is the body's self-protection mechanism. If you continue to forcibly refine chakra, you will faint. Even in the end, not only did chakra not be extracted, but the original chakra would dissipate. And Shiyu can now refine chakra 3 times a day, and after the 4th refinement, he will faint and faint. The teacher of the ninja school also explained that as the body grows stronger and the spirit increases in the future, the number of times to refine chakra will also increase. The amount of chakra will also increase slowly. But people from the Uzumaki family like Naruto, who refine chakra or something, are simply cheating. It is conservatively estimated that Naruto can complete hundreds of refinements in a day even if it is the first refinement of chakra. This is the gap between geniuses and ordinary people. There is simply no way to go beyond. Passive skill 1. Chakra refining. Complete 1 time. When the voice sounded, Shiyu froze for a moment. Suddenly, I felt a warm current surging in my body. This feeling is all too familiar to Shiyu, he feels it 3 times a day. This is the feeling of refining the chakra and increasing the amount of chakra. Completing a refinement is nothing more than adding a touch of chakra. And the chakra flow in Shiyu's body is only about the size of a little finger. This is the chakra that has been refined in 6 years. Such a weak chakra passive doesn't even meet genin standards. According to Shiyu's own understanding, the amount of chakra in genin should at least be bigger. Only in this way can it barely reach genin's chakra volume standard. Carefully feel the chakra that just increased in the body, although it is only a trace of chakra, but Shiyu feels that this trace of chakra seems to be refined perfectly. This kind of chakra can only achieve the best effect when Shiyu is in a full state and devotes himself to refining. And this passive skill column seems to have directly allowed Shiyu to complete a chakra refinement in his own best state. And he doesn't need to control it himself, and after completing chakra refining, the physical energy and mental energy in the body will not be consumed at all. This is increasing chakra volume out of thin air. Single quote. Passive skill 1. Chakra refining. Complete one time. While Shiyu was surprised, Chakra added another touch. This time Shiyu had a surprised look on his face. Another increase. Single quote. Just completed 2 chakra refinements in about 10 minutes. Is this the effect of the passive skill bar? This is too pervert. Refining chakra is fine, and there is no consumption at all. If this is the case, doesn't it mean that he can refine chakra without limit as long as he just sits like this? Every few minutes. 1 hour is worth the past few months of cultivation. It seems that it is not difficult to meet Genin's standards. With eyes closed, Shiyu carefully felt the flow of chakra in his body, under the control of the passive skill bar. 5 minutes passed and another touch of chakra was added. Shiyu still didn't make any movements, just kept it like this, sitting on the bed with his eyes closed. Half an hour passed in a blink of an eye. The passive skill bar allowed Shiyu to complete 6 chakra refinements. And now Shiyu slowly opened his eyes. Ecstatic. Shiyu can refine chakra 3 times a day, and in this half an hour, he has refined it 6 times. There is still no feeling of tiredness, as if nothing has been done. But the problem is that the amount of chakra is enhanced. The chakra fluctuation in the body is obviously stronger than before. If you just sit like this for one night, I'm afraid it will reach Genin's chakra standard. There is absolutely nothing wrong with expanding the chakra in the body. Wait, don't worry, I have been here for more than 10 years, and it is not so short of time. Now Shiyu still has 6 skill bars, so I have to pick a few more skills and throw them in. Shiyu looked at these skills of his own, and he didn't care about eating, drinking, and slacking. Of course, he had to pick useful skills such as ninjutsu and throw them in. However, when Shiyu checked his own skills, Shiyu didn't know how to choose for a while, but saw that among the optional skills, the first skill was still chakra refining technique. Can I continue to install the same skills? With the mentality of giving it a try, Shiyu threw another chakra refining technique into passive skill column 2. Passive skill 2 installed successfully. Current passive skill 2, chakra refining technique. Running. It's really possible. Passive skills 1 and 2 completed once. In the next second, 2 traces of chakra appeared at the same time. Double effect. Installing 2 passive skills of chakra refining technique directly obtained double the effect of cultivation. There was a light in Shiyu's eyes. Almost couldn't help screaming. But I held back. There are still 5 empty passive skill bars, if you install chakra refining technique on all of them. It has 7 times the effect directly, and it runs once every 5 minutes, and it is also the chakra refinement of Shiyu's most perfect state. Even Sasuke, who is known as a genius, or Naruto, who has inherited the tyrannical physique of the Uzumaki family, cannot reach this chakra refining speed. Shiyu's chakra refinement is basically no consumption, no fatigue, no decline in state. Every refinement can achieve the effect of the most perfect chakra refinement ever done. Install chakra refinement on all. With a wave of Shiyu's hand, all 5 vacant passive skill bars were installed with the chakra refining technique. The most perfect state refining effect times 7. Passive skills 1, 2, 3.7 completed once. Passive skills 1, 2, 3.7 completed once. Shiyu woke up suddenly in the morning. Looking at the familiar room, he was still lying on his own bed. When did you fall asleep? How about chakra refining? Call out the system directly with your mind. Looking at the skill bar that was still there, Shiyu breathed a sigh of relief. Originally, Shiyu was so excited that he wanted to sit there all night without sleeping, for fear that chakra would stop refining as soon as he fell asleep. Or the system simply disappears. But don't worry now, it's not a dream, the system has not disappeared and is still there. By the way, how about chakra refining? Passive skills 1, 2, 3.7 completed once. A surge of chakra suddenly intensified, erupted in Shiu's body. Shiu was stunned for a moment. Feeling the amazing chakra flow in the body, compared to before, it has more than doubled. Now Shiu's chakra amount has fully met Genin's requirement. Not only met Genin's requirements but also exceeded Genin's requirements. At this moment, it should be regarded as having reached the midterm level of Genin. The amount of chakra has been fully doubled, and it is also chakra extracted from Shiu's most perfect state. In terms of quality, it is also far superior to the chakra that Shiu refined and accumulated before. I just slept like this for one night, and the amount of chakra has more than doubled, and the quality is so amazing. Look at the two words passive displayed on the skill bar. Passive skill, I don't need to control it at all, it will work no matter what I do. So whether I'm walking, running, or sleeping, it doesn't affect chakra refining. If that's the case, then this system is simply amazing. Even if there are no modules, task modules, reward modules, these are all fine. These few skill bars are completely enough. And the key point is that there are no restrictions, you can put any skills into it, and it can always ignore Shiu and run autonomously. In this way, even eating and drinking water will become stronger. Even if you never know what those 3 active skills are, it feels like having these passive skill bars is enough. It's a pity that there are a little less passive skill slots. If there are 100, 1,000 will be great. Thinking of this, Shiu felt a little greedy. It's nice to have a system. Suddenly there was a warm current in the body, and the amount of chakra increased again. Complete a chakra refinement in 5 minutes, and add 7 chakra each time. There are 1440 minutes a day, and the number of times I refine chakra by relying on these 7 skill bars is 2016 times a day. Complete more than 2000 chakra refinements in one day. This, even a perverted monster with a system like Naruto will never be able to do it. More than 2000 chakra refinements. Calculated according to Shiu's own refinement 3 times a day, it took nearly 2 years for Shiu to complete the number of times. And not every refinement of chakra can be carried out in the most perfect state. Cuckoo. Let's eat something first. Although very excited, but not too hungry, Shiu randomly found something in the refrigerator to eat. After filling his stomach, Shiu glanced at the date. Today is Saturday, and you don't have to go to school when the school is on holiday. Just take these 2 days to see how much chakra I can increase. The passive skills don't require Shiu to control at all, and they don't even interfere with Shiu's own chakra operation. Just keep adding chakra out of thin air. Shiu sat for an hour, feeling a little idle. Let me refine chakra myself. Anyway, idle is idle, although I can only refine 3 times a day, but no matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Go back to the room, close your eyes and sit on the bed. Shiu started refining chakra by himself. And this time refining chakra, Shiu felt unprecedented ease. Guides the fusion of physical energy and spiritual energy in the body, from which chakra is extracted. The refining process Shiu has long been familiar with. There is no difficulty at all. A chakra refinement is successfully completed. At the same time, he opened his eyes and glanced at the clock hanging on the wall. Compared with the passive skill column, it took Shiu nearly 30 minutes to complete a chakra refinement. This is not the same level at all. Detecting that the host has completed a skill release beyond the fixed skill quality. Whether to update the skill status. Beyond the fixed skill quality. Does this mean that I have completed a more perfect chakra refinement? It is true that the refining of chakra just now seems to have been completed very well. Renew. Shiu spoke tentatively. Skill status update completed. All chakra refinements in the 7 skill bars will be updated in the next second. 5 minutes later, chakra was added again, making Shiu even more surprised. More than ever. Single quote. The same 7 silk chakra, but the amount is obviously about 1/3 more than before. Is this the effect of updating the skill status just now? The chakra refining techniques fixed on the passive skill bar are all performed with one's most perfect chakra refining. Then I have completed a chakra refinement that is even better than before, so I naturally use the current one as the standard. And I only need to complete it once, it will be recorded by the system, and then directly copied and pasted into the fixed skill column. Let every passive operation run in this state. There is also the function of updating skills, which is really great. As Shiyu grows physically and mentally, the quality of chakra will naturally increase gradually. If it is still the previous standard, then the fixed chakra refining technique, the refined chakra, will gradually become ineffective. It seems that I have nothing to do at all. Single quote. The system is responsible for running the skills, and the system itself is responsible for updating the status of the skills. Wait a minute. After Shiyu's excitement passed, he suddenly noticed something. That is, I just completed a chakra refinement, why didn't I feel tired at all? This is the chakra refinement done by myself. Logically speaking, now I should feel physically exhausted and mentally unwell. Why do you feel as if you are still full of energy? Could it be that, refining chakra by yourself is also free of consumption? Shiyu is a little uncertain, perhaps because of his chakra enhancement. So it leads to an increase in your physical or mental energy, so now you don't feel much when you refine chakra for the first time. So Shiyu performed the second chakra refinement again. This time it took the same half an hour to complete a chakra refinement. However, after the refinement was completed this time, the system did not prompt, which means that the refinement of chakra this time did not surpass the previous quality. But it doesn't matter, the important thing is that Shiyu still doesn't feel anything. It's really no consumption. Once was an accident, but twice there is no accident. Shiyu got even more excited. Unleash skills without consumption. If it's just chakra refining, maybe it doesn't matter, but if it's another ninjutsu. Of course, this must have something to do with the skill bar, and there can be no other reasons other than this. Shiyu glanced at the skill bar, and installed the chakra refining technique himself, and he could refine chakra without consumption. Then put on other ninjutsu. Randomly install a clone technique on it. Passive skill 7, clone technique. Still retains the passive of the 6 chakra refining techniques. Shiyu quickly jumped out of bed and began to seal and release the clone technique. This time, however, it was different. Along with a white smoke, a clone appeared. But this time Shiyu could clearly feel that the release of clone technique consumed chakra. Isn't it free of consumption? Could it be that only the chakra refining technique can consume nothing? If this is the case, then I will be happy for nothing. Casually released the clone, Shiyu was a little frustrated. Sitting on the bed, feeling the 6 strands of chakra increasing again in the body, Shiyu felt something was wrong again. They are all skills, why chakra refining can be consumed without consumption, but clone technique can't? Could the system still be able to identify the type of skill? Look at your skill bar. 6 refining techniques, 1 clone technique. Quantity. The difference lies in the quantity. Could it be that the clone technique is not all installed? Shiyu frowned. Try another one. Passive skill 6, clone technique. Running. Passive skills 6 and 7 complete a run. Shiyu was about to try again to unleash the clone technique, but suddenly it felt like there was a little more. But it seems that I can't say it. What is the use of the clone technique to complete a run? Shiyu shook his head and tried to release the clone technique first. However, when he released the clone technique this time, Shiyu was stunned for a moment. The seal formation seemed to be very smooth, and he didn't even need to think about it. The body seems to have formed some kind of muscle memory. And the printing speed is also faster. Boom! With the burst of blue light from chakra, the clone appears. And this time, looking carefully at the clone in front of him, Shiyu felt that the clone seemed to be more perfect. But now what surprised Shiyu the most? Chakra no less. Sure enough, it's because of the number of passive skills equipped. If you equip 1 clone technique, it will not cost nothing, but if you equip 2, you can. No wonder there is no consumption for chakra refining by yourself. This is a hidden function. It doesn't feel like it. No matter how you look at it, it looks more like a bug in the system. If the system is not damaged, you shouldn't let yourself install 2 identical passive skills repeatedly. But now that the system is damaged, it is up to him what skills to install, and 2 of the same passive skills will allow him to get stuck. Unleash the passive skills of equipment without consumption. Of course, the prerequisite is that a skill must be loaded into the 2 skill columns. I have a total of 7 passive skill bars, in other words, I can card 3 non-consumable passive skills at the same time. Suddenly Shiyu's eyes lit up, who said that there must only be 3 skills without consumption. When you need to use some skills, you can just put the skills into the 2 skill bars at the same time, wouldn't it be good? Thinking of this, Shiyu called out the system again, preparing to replace the transformation technique with the clone technique. Reminder: it takes 60 seconds to change passive skills. Current remaining waiting time, 34 seconds. Well, seeing this hint, Shiyu sighed. It seems that this idea has come to nothing. The waiting time for changing passive skills is 1 minute, although this minute is not too long. But in battle, it seems impossible to constantly change skills to get stuck in a state of no consumption. In a real battle, every second counts, 1 minute. Even Nagato's 5-second cooldown of Shinluo Tianzhong can't stand it, let alone a minute of himself. But it doesn't matter, if you are really facing a fierce battle, you can card 3 non-consumable skills in advance, and leave a skill bar for chakra refining. Chakra refining can not only increase chakra, but also restore chakra. If it is in a state of full chakra, if you increase chakra, you may only be able to extract a trace of chakra once you refine it. However, if chakra is already consumed, refining chakra once can restore more than half of chakra. And I leave a skill bar to equip chakra refinement, and complete a refinement in 5 minutes, which is equivalent to having the skill of passive mana recovery. And more than half of it will recover in 5 minutes. For the current Shiyu, at Genin's midterm level, more than half of the chakra is nothing, but the more chakra goes on, the more chakra he has. The amount of recovered chakra is quite huge. And if you can learn fairy art, then replace it with fairy art refining, then you can absorb natural energy and condense fairy art chakra all the time. It is equivalent to realizing the skill of refining the magic chakra in the battle that Naruto wanted to develop. Even if the immortal body without Hashirama's pervert can automatically absorb the immortal chakra for recovery, the same effect can be achieved by relying on the passive skill bar. And in any case, Hashirama's automatic absorption of natural energy is definitely not as much as active refining of Shanshu chakra. My passive skill bar can turn the effect of actively absorbing natural energy into a passive. In this way, his skill bar is even more powerful. Shiyu looked up out of the window. The open hand slowly clenched. Mediocre. No, no, no. From now on, the entire ninja world will be shaken because of me. Shake the entire ninja world. This is a matter for the future, and I will continue to study my skill bar for now. Just now Shiyu felt that after running the clone technique once, his knot seal seemed to become smoother, and even his body seemed to have muscle memory. And the released avatar is also more perfect. The avatar is not a shadow clone, but a deceptive means to assist ninjas in their attacks. At the same time, the avatar is also easy to see through. Even ninjas without pupil skills can easily see through clone technique. The specific reason is to find the difference. The avatar is not a shadow clone, and it is not a chakra that changes according to the body, but an imagination of the caster. In other words, if you are injured and you cast clone technique but during the casting process, you did not add the element of your injury, and the clone you transformed is also an intact you. This makes it easy for the enemy to find the flaw and thus see through the clone technique. Looking at the perfect clone in front of him, Shiyu seems to understand the effect of performing ninjutsu such as clone technique. That is the role of increasing one's own ninjutsu experience in disguise and upgrading one's own ninjutsu. At the same time, there are other additional effects. For example, the speed of seal formation. Transformation technique requires seal formation, although not all seals are used, but these few seals of clone technique will be performed very quickly. So now it seems that the chakra refining technique can continuously increase the amount of chakra. The importance of the amount of chakra as a ninja is beyond doubt, but a ninja cannot only have a huge amount of chakra. Otherwise, it is like Naruto in the early stage, who has a terrifying chakra, but can only rely on a few thousand shadow clone to bluff people. When you meet a real master, these thousands of shadow clone will not be able to scare others. As for auxiliary ninjutsu such as clone technique, putting it in the skill column can not only continuously upgrade this ninjutsu. It can also increase the printing speed. The operation of passive skills is equivalent to the cultivation of one's own body, and it is practiced in the most perfect state every time. It is normal for the clone technique to become stronger. In the same way, if a ninjutsu with direct attack ability is put into the skill bar, the power of this ninjutsu can be continuously enhanced under the operation of the system. In terms of attack methods, the skill bar is also useful, so I can feel at ease in this way. The 3 elements of ninja, chakra, ninjutsu, and taijutsu. With a huge chakra and powerful ninjutsu, if you can't get close to him and kill him instantly, wouldn't you become a crispy mage? This must not work. Shiyu looks at the skills that can be put in. School-level gymnastics. This should be the taijutsu I learned in the ninja school. If you put in physical skills, you should be able to continuously enhance your physical skills. Running the passive skill bar once is equivalent to practicing once, so the effect of putting in school-level physical skills should not only enhance one's own physical skills. Passive skill 7. School-level physical skills. Passive skill 1 to 6. Chakra refining. Running. However, just put physical skills into the passive skill column. In just a dozen seconds, the system prompt appeared. Passive skill 7 completes a run. Immediately afterwards, Shiyu felt as if his body cells were suddenly on fire, but this feeling was fleeting. What caused this feeling Shiyu couldn't understand more clearly. Isn't that the feeling that only appears when the body breaks through the limit and continues to persevere when it is practiced by itself? And every time this feeling occurs, it means that one's strength has increased a little. At the same time, the body will become stronger, and the physique, speed, and strength will all be increased in all directions. However, compared to practicing chakra, practicing physical skills is more difficult. Shiyu seems to have a relatively good talent in taijutsu, and his taijutsu ranks at the middle level of the ninja school. Of course, it may also be because the limit of chakra's practice is too easy to reach, and Shiyu can only focus on physical skills in the extra time. But even if Shiyu persisted, he still couldn't reach the level of pervert like Xiao Li. It can be seen that although Xiao Li has no talent in ninjutsu, his talent in physical skills is definitely at the pervert level. But now there is a passive skill bar, breaking through the physical limit every 10 seconds, although it increases a little each time. But I am making breakthroughs all the time, so if I continue to improve like this, it will not be difficult at all to reach Xiao Li's level. And with the enhancement of physical fitness, the energy of the body will definitely be enhanced, which is beyond doubt. It's just a question of how much to increase. The physique of a gifted person is enhanced, and the energy of the body increases sharply, but he may only increase a little bit. But with the existence of the passive skill bar, a little bit can be infinitely enlarged. As long as you live long enough, it is not impossible to become a god even by relying on your physical body. Taijutsu can enhance physical fitness, strength, and speed, thereby increasing the energy of the body, so if you want chakra refining, the effect will be better. I still need to increase my spiritual energy. What should be used to increase mental energy? Illusion. The only method Shiyu can think of is illusion. But I don't know illusions. There is a way to dispel the illusion. When you go to school on Monday, maybe ask your teacher if you can teach yourself a simple trick. Or, go to the uncles of the same clan in the Yugong family for help. Shiyu does not require any advanced illusion, just a simple illusion. I just want to see if I can rely on illusion to increase my mental energy. Well, it's not too late, let's go now. Shiyu couldn't wait anymore. Today, Saturday, those members of the Moonlight clan may have uncles who are resting at home on vacation. Simply tidy up and prepare to go out, and the skill Shiyu in the skill bar has also decided to configure it like this now. 6 chakra refining techniques are passive, and 1 body technique is passive. Strengthening chakra is Shiyu's main task now, and at the same time, his physique must also catch up. As for other ninjutsu, Shiyu doesn't know it either. The only ninjutsu I know, water style, is not in a hurry now. Let's get the illusion first. The place where Shiyu lived was not far from the members of the Moonlight clan. A small Konoha family like the Moonlight clan does not have their own clan land, but the residences of family members are usually connected together and not too far apart. Shiyu originally planned to go to the house of Uncle Chunin, another Moonlight clan. After all, he takes good care of himself. But when passing by the door of another fellow clansman, just as the door opened, there was someone inside. The other party stopped Shiyu. Shiyu, what are you going to do? Shiyu froze for a moment, the family in front of him. The residence is Moonlight Gale, and now it is considered the best clan member of the Moonlight clan in Konoha. However, it is just a jonin, a special jonin. Shiyu, are you looking for Uncle Masano? Moonlight Gale, who was eating breakfast with a plate in the living room, looked at Shiyu outside the door. Uncle Jungye is on a mission today, what do you want him for? Is there a mission? I don't know if the Moonlight Gale in front of me will be willing to teach himself a simple illusion, will he know the illusion? In particular, although Jonin has not fully reached the level of Jonin, but he can't even do a simple illusion. Shiyu looked at the moonlight blast in front of him. Brother Haifeng, I want to find Uncle Jungye and ask him to teach me a simple illusion. I'm about to graduate and become a genin. I don't even know a single illusion. I want to learn an illusion to better understand illusions, so that I won't be helpless when encountering enemies of Grandmaster illusions in the future. Graduate. Haifeng froze for a moment, so fast. It is also true that it is the graduation season now, and Shiyu's age is indeed the age of graduation. Moonlight Gale put down the breakfast in his hand, and then thought about it. He is not very familiar with Shiyu, his cousin, but he remembers that his parents seem to have died because of the Nine Tails Rebellion. Uncle Masano and the others have been taking care of Shiyu all these years. However, this kid's ninja talent is not very good. Whether he can successfully graduate from the ninja school is a problem. Come in. Yes. Shiyu took off his shoes and walked in. Afterwards, sitting across from Haifeng, Yugong Haifeng asked casually, have you had breakfast? Have eaten. Gaifeng looked Shiyu up and down. Compared with the few times we met before, Shiyu seems to be more energetic now, and he is much more confident. Although the change is not too big, it is not small. Self-confidence is a matter of course, it would be strange if you have a system and are not confident. Yes, it seems that the days of studying at the ninja school have made you much more energetic. Facing Moonlight Gale's approval, Shiyu didn't feel much. Originally, Shiyu looked very handsome, but now with a little more confidence, he looks more sunny and energetic. Haifeng also admired secretly, this kid is probably the most perfect in appearance in the family. Smiled, let me see your chakra, the cultivation of Genin chakra can't be too bad if you want to graduate. If Moonlight Hayate remembers well, with Shiyu's talent, the current amount of chakra may not be able to reach the level of a smooth graduation. Yes, Shiyu closed his eyes and started to release chakra. This simple release of chakra is nothing more than allowing the chakra flowing in the body to flow outside the body. Boom, the breeze kicked up by Shiyu's chakra eruption blows towards the blast. Moonlight Gale was taken aback for a moment. This amount of chakra has far exceeded Genin's level, and even reached the level of Genin's midterm. It is very good to have this kind of chakra before graduation. In terms of talent, it can be regarded as outstanding among the clansmen who have become ninjas. Did I miss it before? Single quote. Shiyu also noticed a hint of surprise in Yugong Gale's eyes. But the other party didn't show too much shock, and Shiyu didn't feel anything wrong. After all, his current chakra volume is only at the midterm level of Genin. Nothing for a true genius. Even for a guy like Sasuke who lacks chakra, the amount of chakra has already reached the peak level of Genin. If you want to continue to grow chakra, you don't just rely on practice, you also need to strengthen exercise, the most important thing is fighting, as well as physical growth and development. And Shiyu is not in a hurry. As long as he is given time, he can rely on the skill bar to grow passively without limit. It is only a matter of time before Sasuke or even Naruto is surpassed. I didn't expect that your talent is not bad. You have already surpassed the average genin in chakra volume before graduation. With a ninja like you in my family, I will feel a lot easier. Moonlight Gale smiled. Although the Moonlight clan is only a small family, if they want to gain a foothold in Konoha, the small family also needs to have younger generations to grow up. Do you want to be a phantom ninja? Hearing this, Shiyu nodded. I don't want to be an illusion ninja, I just want to learn one or two simple illusions. That's it. Moonlight Gale thought for a while, then nodded. Shiyu's idea was not wrong. Learn about illusion and better understand how to deal with illusion ninjas. But I don't know how to use illusion. All right. Moonlight Gale really doesn't know how to use illusion, which gave Shiyu a headache. Who should I go to now? However, if you really want to learn a few simple illusions, I can help you get some simple illusion scrolls back, and you can take a look when the time comes. This seems to be good too. Shiyu got up quickly, then thank you, Brother Haifeng. Hearing this, Gaifeng waved his hand. It's nothing. By the way, do you know swordsmanship? Fencing. Facing the question of Hayate, Shiyu froze for a moment. What does this mean? Shaking his head. No. Interested. Of course there is interest. Shiyu nodded quickly. Okay, let's go to Konoha's training ground after I finish my breakfast. I'll teach you the basics of swordsmanship first. If you are talented in swordsmanship, I can pass on the Konoha-style swordsmanship that I am good at. Moonlight Gale's Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. It's the dance of the crescent moon. It doesn't seem to be too powerful, but Shiyu is very interested in swordsmanship. Good. Moonlight Gale then began to eat breakfast in 2s and 3s. Then came to Konoha's training ground with Shiyu. Hailstorm. It's rare to have a rest today and come to train so early. Acquaintances are greeting blast. Haifeng nodded and pointed to Shiyu behind him. I'll teach my brother how to use swordsmanship. Brother. Do you have a younger brother, Haifeng? Clan brother. Oh, that's it. You are a very energetic little guy. He looks good. There are many little girlfriends in the school. Forehead. Shiyu smiled awkwardly. Although he looks good, but he really doesn't have puppy love. Puppy love is bad. But the relationship with the female characters is pretty good. Okay, go do your work. I'm going to teach my brother swordsmanship. Chasing the acquaintance away, Gaifeng looked at Shiyu. Okay, let's get started. As he spoke, he threw a wooden sword to Shiyu. Let me teach you the most basic sword skills first. Haifeng looked at Shiyu who was holding the wooden sword. You follow my movements. Yeah, Shiyu nodded. There is nothing to say about basic swordsmanship, and it is nothing more than stabbing, chopping, pointing, teasing, picking, collapsing, cutting, chopping, and parrying. These basics seem to be obvious at a glance, but it is not that simple to know when you really get started. The simplest stab, the coordination between the wrist and palm, and the arms, is not so easy to control. The tip of the sword should always be facing a point in front, keeping the direction from being deviated greatly. The various joints of the arm must cooperate not only to maintain good coordination of the body. Although it is not difficult to master, many things can often be seen through simple movements. Watching Shiyu who is clumsy and learning from himself. Sure enough, there is no foundation at all. The level of these simple movements for the first time is not up to the standard of Gale. In more professional terms, this kid's talent in swordsmanship is too bad. He sighed silently. Sure enough. How could a small family like the Moonlight Clan have such a talented kid? Judging from Shiyu's talent, even if he is given a year, it is not bad to be able to lay the foundation, let alone practice his Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. That's basically the Living Years series. While practicing these movements, Shiyu was also paying attention to Moonlight Gale's reaction. Looking at the other party and sighing, Shiyu also understood. His talent in swordsmanship is probably average. But it doesn't matter, as long as you master the basic swordsmanship, and then hang it on the passive skill bar, the swordsmanship will immediately improve by leaps and bounds. But the problem is that I have to master this basic swordsmanship first, and transform it into a skill. Thinking of this, Shiyu is also very helpless. There is nothing he can do if he is not talented. Detection. Host is learning new skills. Active skill 3. Daxian reference mark starting. Active skills activated. Haven't these 3 active skills been damaged? Still able to start. Active skill 3. Daxian reference mark applying for activation skill. Whether host is enabled. What kind of active skill is this, and you still apply for activation by yourself? It really is active enough. But I can't see anything with this skill, only the word Daxian can be seen, and everything else is garbled. What is the effect of this active skill? Never mind. Since it wants to start, let's start it and try it out. Open. Single quote. Activate active skill 3. Daxian reference mark. Warning. This skill is damaged due to unknown reasons, and only has 30% of the original skill's effect. The system is speeding up the repair. Hehe. 30% effect. Sure enough, you can't have too much hope. The activation is activated, but the effect of this skill is only 30%. What else can it do? Analyzing new skills. Analyzing. 10%, 20%, 50%, 99%. The analysis is complete. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, basic swordsmanship. Shiyu was dumbfounded. In such a second, what happened? New skill. This active skill 3 is to help you learn. Suddenly, Shiyu felt as if there were a lot of basic sword skills in his mind, and at the same time, his body seemed to move involuntarily. Gai Feng sighed. Based on his current talent, this kid will be Chunin at most in the future. Single quote. Forget it, his parents' talent is only average, and it's normal for him to have no talent. Single quote. As he was thinking about it, he suddenly saw Shiyu waving the wooden sword in his hand and stabbing lightly. This stab, because Moonlight Gale was standing right in front of Shiyu. From his perspective, he could only see the tip of the wooden sword attacking straight in his direction. At that moment, the wind seemed to only see Shiyu's wooden sword, and everything else seemed to be covered. Shiyu's hand holding the sword is completely different from before. Stable, very steady, terrifyingly steady. Although it was just basic swordsmanship, in Shiyu's hands, each move was very fast, and at the same time, the body did not shake at all. The chopping with the wooden sword actually brought out the sword wind faintly. If it was an iron sword, then it should have already made a sword sound by this moment. Gale froze in place. Is this kid really just practicing swordsmanship for the second time? When I learned by myself before, I didn't understand anything, and I was a newbie who couldn't be a newbie. Why is it only a few seconds? It seems to have completely mastered the movements of basic swordsmanship. Even mastered too perfectly. Anyway, he can't find any faults at all. Is this kid a born swordsman? This kind of terrifying talent for swordsmanship is probably only possessed by Konoha's White Fang back then. Thinking of this, Gale suddenly smiled. Is the Moonlight Clan finally about to rise? Ha 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 ha. Good. Suddenly, Gai Feng roared and came directly in front of Shiyu, grabbing Shiyu's shoulders tightly with both hands. Shiyu, you were born for the sword. Shiyu, who was still in a daze, was dumbfounded. Why is Moonlight Gale so crazy? Didn't I just master the basic swordsmanship? Why does he seem to be superb? You have only seen it once, and you are able to master the basic sword skills better than me. Shiyu, you have such a talent, it is not certain that my Moonlight Clan will rise because of you. Clam, is the basic swordsmanship that I just mastered so good? Shiyu didn't feel much, but felt that he knew all these movements. And the body even has muscle memory, every move seems as simple as eating and drinking. Is this the effect of active skill 3, Dashion reference mark? Shiyu herself couldn't help being excited now. This is only 30% of the effect. If it is 100%, what kind of effect will it be? With this active skill, even if it only has 30% effect, I can become a so-called genius. No, it should be a monster more terrifying than a genius. Shiyu, now I will teach you Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. Hearing this, Shiyu was stunned for a moment. He was a little worried. Could active skill 3 still be activated this time? This skill is still in a damaged state, and the Moonlight Blast has already begun. Look carefully, Konoha-style swordsmanship. There are not many moves, a total of 10 moves, but if you use them skillfully, your close combat ability will be greatly enhanced. Detection. Host is learning new skills, active skill 3, Daxian reference mark applying for activation. Shiyu's eyes flashed suddenly. This wave is stable. Konoha-style swordsmanship does not include Moonlight Gale's Dance of the Three Suns and Moon, which should be regarded as the nirvana of Konoha-style swordsmanship. Requires use with Shadow Clone. Shiyu is a kid who has not yet graduated. Moonlight Gale will not consider teaching Shiyu's Shadow Clone technique. The Shadow Clone technique is a dangerous ninjutsu, and if you are not careful, you will be injured. However, the 10 styles of Konoha Ryu swordsmanship can be taught to Shiyu. At the same time, Haifeng is also to test Shiyu's talent in swordsmanship and confirm it again. If Shiyu can quickly learn Konoha Ryu swordsmanship, even just getting started will be enough to prove that he is indeed a swordsmanship genius. 10 styles are not too many, although Moonlight Gale is for teaching. The movements are deliberately slowed down, and the changes of each move are explained in detail. It took a total of 10 minutes. Gai Feng turned his head to look at Shiyu. You come and try. Hearing this, Shiyu had a smile on his face. Smile with confidence, because at the moment when Moonlight Gale demonstrated the last form, the system beep sounded. Analysis completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring a new skill, Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. Almost at the same time, everything about Konoha Ryu's swordsmanship reappeared in Shiu's mind. It's as if it was born naturally, and every change in the style is imprinted in Shiu's mind like a knife and axe. The body also seems to have mastered Konoha Ryu's swordsmanship long ago. Hands up. With the first sword, Shiu directly stunned Moonlight Gale. Looking at that incomparably slashing sword, the power was even 3 points stronger than him. Perfect. Very perfect. Just the first move made Moonlight Gale completely dumbfounded. Konoha-style swordsmanship. Among all the ninjas in Konoha, there are not many people who inherit it. There are not many at all, and at the same time, everyone who has learned, Konoha has records, and there is no possibility of leakage. With Shiu's conditions, there is absolutely no other opportunity to get in touch with Konoha-style swordsmanship. And now, dancing the wooden sword in front of his eyes, he performed the Konoha-style swordsmanship one by one. And every pose seems to be a more perfect Shiu than myself. It's like a swordsman who has practiced Konoha-style swordsmanship for more than 10 years, even more powerful than himself, a ninja of grandmaster swordsmanship. Such a talent for swordsmanship. There is absolutely no second. Perhaps even more scary than Konoha's White Fang ever was. Swish. The wind driven by the wooden sword made a whistling sound. The end of the last move almost caused the wooden sword in Yugong Galifang's hand to fall off. Shiu looked back at Moonlight Gale. Shiu. You will be the second Konoha's White Fang. My Moonlight clan is finally about to rise, just like the Hatake clan. The change that one Konoha's White Fang can bring is simply too big for a small family. Shiu, who was waiting for Moonlight Galawan's evaluation, was also a little surprised. Second Konoha's White Fang. Single quote. Shiu smiled. He who has been mediocre for 12 years is finally showing his edge now. But Moonlight Gale's words reminded Shiu. There was nothing noteworthy about him before, so there is no need to think too much about it. But now it is different. Konoha is not so calm on the surface, she is just a baby bird now. The performance is too amazing. I'm afraid I can't wait for the day when I grow into an eagle. So it's good to show an amazing talent in swordsmanship. As for other talents, maybe you can hide it a little bit. Konoha has Danzo and third generation. Danzo is an outright extremist. The little ninja, whose strength is still insufficient, can only be manipulated at will. And third generation is also not easy to mess with, although it is much better than Danzo. But if it is beyond the control of the third generation, I am afraid that the third generation will not be at ease. It seemed fitting to be Konoha's second White Fang. Thinking of this, Shiu looked at the very excited Moonlight Gale, and he also showed an extremely happy smile. Really, Brother Galawan, of course it is true. Moonlight Hayate replied to Shiu with certainty, your talent in swordsmanship absolutely surpasses all the ninjas in Konoha today. Don't call me Big Brother Blast from now on, just call me Big Brother. Shiu nodded, yeah, brother. Hearing his elder brother's address, Moonlight Gale nodded in satisfaction. This matter has to be reported to the third generation. A genius like Shiu has appeared in my Moonlight clan. Single quote. He cannot be buried. Single quote. Shiu, Konoha Ryu's swordsmanship has stronger moves, but I can't teach you now, you still need more training. I'll teach you after you graduate from ninja school. The more powerful move should be the dance of the crescent moon. Shiu didn't care too much about that trick either. Because it seems to be very weak. I know, brother. Okay. Moonlight Gale saw that Shiu didn't show any impatience, and his temper was also very good. Do you want to continue practicing? If you continue to practice, I will accompany you. Continue. It is possible to continue, but now Shiu wants to go back and study active skill 3 even more. Shiu raised his hand and touched his head. Don't worry, brother, I will work hard to practice swordsmanship, but today I have an appointment with a classmate. Hearing that Yugong Gale was not displeased at all, but nodded, well. It is also very important to get along well with classmates. Go. I happen to have something to do, but your swordsmanship must not be left behind. When you graduate, I'll give you another ninja sword. Among the genin who match your sword skills at the same time, I'm afraid there are not many people who can win against you. Moonlight Hayate originally wanted to say that with Shiu's Konoha Ryu's swordsmanship just now, genin is definitely a top existence. But, if so, he was afraid that Shiu would be too proud and ignore the other ninjas. This worry is completely unnecessary. Okay, let's go find your classmates. Shiyu nodded and looked at the wooden sword in his hand. Keep the wooden sword, spend more time practicing swordsmanship. I see, Shiyu said, holding the wooden sword behind his hand. Then brother, I will take my leave first. Seeing Shiyu's disappearing figure, Moonlight Hayate turned his head and went straight to the Hokage building. The Moonlight clan has a swordsman genius, and that's a great opportunity to get Hokage's attention. At the same time, letting third generation know can also help Shiyu get more support from Konoha in swordsmanship, which is a win-win situation for Shiyu and the family. Go home, Shiyu gasped heavily. He ran back from the training ground just now and ran at full speed in one breath. The speed has accelerated a lot, if you go to take the school's comprehensive test at the current speed. The speed score will definitely increase by 1/3 compared to before. And this is just the effect of Shiyu hanging physical skills on the skill bar for less than a morning. The physique that is being strengthened all the time, although it is only a little each time, every 10 seconds. A drop of water can wear through a stone. Shiyu can clearly feel the changes in his physique. There is no need to say more about the magic of the passive skill bar. But now Shiyu is concerned about active skill 3. It's almost noon, Shiyu just ran around quickly, and now he feels a little hungry. I dug out some things in the refrigerator and made a simple lunch. As Shiyu, who has basically lived alone since the age of 3 or 4, not to mention being a time traveler, cooking and so on is completely out of the question. After eating lunch as quickly as possible, Shiyu packed up and sat cross-legged in the living room. Close your eyes and call out the system interface directly. The first thing you see is the passive skill bar, but Shiyu skipped the passive skill bar this time. Stare at the 3 skills in the active skill bar. Shiyu didn't care about the first 2 skills for the time being. Instead, he focused on the last skill. Active skill 3, Daxian reference mark. This skill is simply a divine skill. It can help him quickly master swordsmanship, but this ability has already excited Shiyu. And now Shiyu also wants to try it to see if it has other functions. But how to try, Shiyu didn't know what to do for a while. Calm down, don't get excited, now think about how to test all the functions of this skill. Active skill 3, Daxian reference mark. Application dialog, clam. Can this skill still talk? Is this still a skill? It's almost time to catch up with artificial intelligence. However, when this skill was learning swordsmanship just now, it took the initiative to apply to activate it, which is indeed very similar to artificial intelligence. Agree, Daxian reference mark. This skill is currently in a damaged state and is urging the system to repair it. At present, only the analysis function is left to be used, and some of the analysis functions are damaged and cannot be activated. Forced activation may cause this skill to completely collapse. Is this guy explaining himself? The analysis function is also the function of learning swordsmanship just now. At present, only this is left, that is to say, it can only help you learn quickly. Shiyu frowned. The reason why he came back as fast as he could was because he wanted to try this skill. Can you make your own chakra refining technique stronger? Shiyu is not an idiot either. When he saw the word analysis prompted by the system, he wondered whether this skill could be used to analyze the skills he had already mastered. Daxian reference mark. The calculation ability is damaged, unable to fulfill the host's request. Calculation. Can this skill really help me strengthen the skills I have already mastered? And is this function of enhancing skills called calculus? It's quite appropriate, but why is this function broken? How nice it would be if it wasn't damaged. According to the effect of the previous analysis of the new skill, the completion of the analysis is a perfect swordsmanship. If the chakra refining technique is calculated, then I am afraid that the chakra refining technique will have to be renamed as the chakra surge technique. Pity. I don't know how long it will take to fix it. Daxian reference mark. The repair time is unknown, but as the host becomes stronger, the system repair ability can also be increased, which can speed up the repair process. I become stronger and enhance the repair ability of the system. That's okay, at least not without a chance to see active skill 3 in its entirety. As long as you become stronger, that's great. I have roughly figured out the ability of active skill 3, so what does active skill 1 and 2 look like? Daxian reference mark. the data is lost, and the specific effect of the skill cannot be known. Is there no information? Then come and test it yourself. Daxian reference mark. Actively activating two skills will delay the repair time of this skill and share the repair rate of the system. The final result may cause this skill and other active skills to never be repaired. Is there such a saying? Shiu froze for a moment. Why did he have a strange feeling? It seems that this active skill 3 is monopolized by one person, and it seems that all the repair rates of the system are concentrated on oneself. Rather than warning himself, this guy is more like playing tricks, trying to make himself recover sooner, so as to prevent himself from activating the other two active skills. Daxian reference mark. Not talking anymore. Is this the default? This active skill function is indeed a bit powerful. It seems that it still has a certain ability to think, but it doesn't seem to be able to lie to itself. So the question just now was not answered. That's okay. If a skill can be thoughtful, then Shiu should pay attention. Daxian reference mark. Repairing this skill is currently the most helpful to the host, and after this skill is repaired, it can assist the system in repairing other skills, so repairing this skill is the best choice. Good guy, this skill can also assist the system in repairing. That being said, repairing it is indeed the best option. In the Hokage building, Yugong Galifang waited for more than 10 minutes, and finally waited until the third generation was busy with something and found time to see him. Entering Hokage's office, third generation looked at the ruddy moonlight Hayate and joked, "Look at you, what's the matter? Did you come to see the old man just after the appointment?" Whether it is Jonin or special Jonin, Konoha is the core strength of Konoha, although it is not very close to Moonlight Gale third generation. But at least it's familiar. Such a joke is also easier to bring the relationship between the two closer. Haifeng shook his head in embarrassment, then put away his smile, and said to third generation very seriously. "Master third generation, I found an unexpected surprise today. I'm here to report on the third generation." Surprise. Third generation smiled. What else can be called a surprise at this time? Leaning on the back of the chair, third generation changed to a more easy-going posture. "Say it. I belong to the Moonlight family, Moonlight Shiu. I found that he has the same potential as Konoha's White Fangya. His talent in swordsmanship is unmatched by Konoha nowadays." Just as he was about to close his eyes and meditate for the third generation, he suddenly opened his eyes, looking at Moonlight Gale with that extremely oppressive gaze. "What did you say?" Being stared at by Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly with such a gaze. Even the Moonlight Gale, which is especially Jonin, suddenly feels pressure doubled. The body seemed to freeze for a moment. As expected of Mr. Shinobi third generation, although he is getting older, his serious eyes are still terrifying. Swallowing silently, Moonlight Gale stared at third generation and spoke again. "Today, I taught a clansman how to practice swordsmanship, but unexpectedly discovered his amazing talent in swordsmanship. He watched it once, and after only practicing it twice, he has practiced the basic sword skills extremely solidly. Even after I taught him Konoha Ryu swordsmanship, he just saw it once, and he used it even more perfectly than me." Third generation looked at Moonlight Hayate looking directly at him. Although there was a hint of timidity in the other party's eyes, there was a look of anticipation and excitement in his expression. Not lying, but if it is really as Haifeng said, then this is indeed a surprise. Said by Moonlight Gale to be comparable to White Fang's talent. That's no ordinary genius. Konoha Ryu swordsmanship, is it really better than you after just reading it once? Third generation couldn't believe it. He knew who Moonlight Gale was. Among the ninjas who inherited Konoha-style swordsmanship, he is the most outstanding one. Although chakra and physique are much worse, but swordsmanship is still good. Otherwise, it is impossible to be promoted to special Jonin. But Moonlight Gale said that the other party learned Konoha Ryu swordsmanship for the first time, and he used it more perfectly than him. Is this possible? Who is this guy? Moonlight Shiu, my cousin, is currently studying at the ninja school, and they will graduate in just over a month. Imp from ninja school. A kid with such talent in the way of swordsmanship was discovered only now. Thinking about it in a blink of an eye, there seems to be nothing wrong with third generation. The Moonlight clan is just a small family after all, so it's normal for a child of such a small family to not be noticed. Single quote. Furthermore, Swordsmanship is not something taught in ninja schools. The little devils have no access to these things, and it is not surprising that their talent in swordsmanship has not been discovered. If Hokage-sama doesn't believe it, I can ask Shiyu to come over immediately and demonstrate it to third-generation Sama in person. Moonlight Gale was afraid that the third generation would not believe in him. And third generation waved his hand. No. I believe in you. Hearing the words, Moonlight Gale was very moved. Since it's a good seed, then naturally it can't be buried, but this kid hasn't graduated yet. Wait for him to graduate first. Since he is as talented in swordsmanship as White Fang, then you have to supervise him to practice swordsmanship. The current Konoha needs a lot of fresh blood to be able to regain its vitality. The third generation approved it, and Moonlight Gale had achieved its goal. I can hardly hide my excitement now. Third generation also probably knew what Yugong Haifeng was thinking. Okay, you go down first. I still have a lot of things to do. Then don't bother Lord Third Generation, said Moonlight Hayate, bowed and left Hokage's office. After the other party left, third generation showed doubts. Is the talent in swordsmanship really so terrifying? Single quote. He was not only skeptical, but very skeptical. Maybe it's time to find some time to test it out for yourself, if it's really as good as Haifeng said. This kind of kid who is young and easy to cultivate has great potential to become the pillar of Konoha in the future, as well as his loyal supporter. Shiyu, who is still at home, is still asking about active skill 3. What changes can ninjutsu bring to the passive skill bar? Daxian reference mark. Can't analyze due to lack of information, please host to try it yourself. It seems that in the end, I have to try it out slowly. Forget about active skill 3. Now that it can help me learn new skills, it is already very, very good. I can't ask for too much. As for the effect of ninjutsu on the skill bar, you can try it yourself and don't have to ask Daxian asterisk. The idea of putting ninjutsu in the passive skill bar has been in Shiyu's mind for a long time. After all, the main tone of ninja is ninjutsu. What would be the effect of putting ninjutsu in the skill bar? How could Shiyu not want to know? Reallocate the system's passive skill bar. Passive skill 1 to 5. Chakra refining technique. Chakra is indispensable, and Shiyu will definitely not be replaced if he can't be replaced. Passive skill 6. School level physical skills. Physical skills can enhance physical fitness, which is also very important, and it is also essential to reserve a column for physical skills. As for the vacated passive skill 7, Shiyu is going to try to see how effective ninjutsu is. The ninjutsu here does not refer to the non-attribute ninjutsu like 3-body technique. It's an escape technique. At the same time, this is the only legacy that Shiyu's parents left him besides money and house. Water style, water chaos wave technique. This scroll of water style ninjutsu is the only legacy Shiyu's parents left him. Both of them are just little chunin, and things like ninjutsu scrolls are quite precious things for chunin. It took Shiyu 3 years to successfully master this water style ninjutsu. At the same time, the career is also very fortunate that he has chakra with the water attribute, and he most likely inherited his father's attribute. It can be seen that it is so difficult for ordinary ninjas to learn AC level ninjutsu, but it is even more difficult to practice advanced ninjutsu. Passive skill 7. Water style, water chaos technique. Successful installation. Alright, now let's see how often it works. Counting the time, 20 seconds passed. Passive skill 7 completed once. Complete once in 20 seconds, this speed is not bad. But what about the effect? Daxian reference mark. Detection host is learning new skills, Shikai analysis is in progress. Analyzing. 2%. Oh, does this start Shikai analysis skills? What skills? I didn't do anything. Why did it stop? Continue to analyze. When I analyzed it before, the speed was the same as riding a rocket. Why is it stuck at 2% and not moving? Shiyu was still a little confused. Passive skill 7 completed once. Analyzing. 4%. Water style. The water runs in turbulent waves. Is it still learning new skills? What new skill to learn? Daxian reference mark. Analyzing. All right. Analyze and analyze. It runs once in 20 seconds, and the resolution is increased by 2% at a time, which is only a matter of 10 minutes. Wait, soon 17 or 18 minutes passed. Daxian reference mark. Analysis completed. Congratulations to host for mastering a new skill, Nature Transformation Water. Chapter 11. Nature Transformation. Put water style on the skill bar, and you can directly obtain the nature transformation of the water attribute. Doesn't that mean, hang other 5 escape ninjutsu on the skill bar by yourself, and you can basically master the corresponding nature transformation in minutes? And the previous question is how to learn these ninjutsu and transform them into skills. However, now that Daxian has the ability to analyze, it is not a problem at all. Okay. Shiyu laughed involuntarily, but he quickly withdrew his smile. The magical effect of the skill bar is not only that, it is just that you can get 5 escapes, it's nothing. The really powerful ones should be Yin Dun and Yang Dun. Mastering the Yin Yang escape technique plus 5 escapes is just the beginning. The real scary thing about the skill bar is that you can constantly run your skills, so that you can keep getting stronger and stronger every moment. But the problem now is that the chakra refining technique works to increase chakra. Physical exercise is to enhance physical fitness. And ninjutsu running seems to be able to increase the power of ninjutsu. Then, can the power of water style also be increased? Shiyu can't wait to try it now. But obviously not at home. It is still necessary to find a suitable place for ninjutsu release. The artificial lake in Konoha Park is a good place. The sun is scorching now, and there is no shade around the artificial lake. There should be no one. It is a good place to practice water style by yourself. Straight out of the door, Shiyu rushed towards the park lake. Physical feeling is a little stronger, it's completely like endless energy. A skill bar that runs all the time is just awesome. When I came to the park lake, there was no one around. The weather in this ghost is too hot. Although it is cool near the water, it is the water that is cool, not the people. The floor tiles that are not even a shaded place are hot to the feet. Who will stay here? Shiyu stood by the lake. Let out a sigh of relief. In order to master this ninjutsu before, he didn't know how much effort he spent. There is also a lot of time to practice. But it can barely spit out a stream of water about the height of a person, and the impact force can only push others back a few meters. In terms of power, it's rubbish at all. It is also AC level ninjutsu. It took Shiyu with ordinary talent 3 years to fully master the water chaos, which can only push people back a few meters. As for the genius Sasuke, he spit out a huge fireball with ease. Enough to instantly burn the enemy into a ball of coke. This is the talent gap. Even ninjutsu of the same level has different powers in the hands of different people. But Shiyu is not concerned about this, and this means that the power of ninjutsu is not determined by the level. Hang up the water style. So far, it has been run no less than 60 or 70 times. I don't know if the power of the current water chaos has increased. Although the previous clone technique has proved that the power of ninjutsu will increase. But water style is different from clone technique. Clone technique is a non-attribute ninjutsu, while water style is an escape technique. In case there is any difference between the two. Shiyu raised his hand to make a seal. It really is a different feeling. Shiyu can clearly feel it just in the seal state. The sealing time has been cut in half. Shiyu's hand speed is not bad. It took about 3 seconds to perform this technique in Jian before. Now, in less than 1.5 seconds, the seal has been completed. This printing speed can basically barely reach the point where it can be used at any time in battle. Water style. Single quote. Water chaos. Single quote. Shiyu took a deep breath, and then spit out the chakra that had gathered in his throat for a moment. Boom. Suddenly the roar of the water flowing through it sounded. Shiyu was stunned. Compared with the current of one person's height before, it is now more than 10 times larger. The direct diffusion formed a water flow 6 to 7 meters wide that could stretch for dozens of meters and directly reach the center of the lake. And the flow rate has accelerated a lot. This and the previous Mizurenbo technique are exactly like two ninjutsu. But the appearance is still the same, but the power cannot be compared at all. The sound of water falling into the lake sounded. A lot of water was splashed, and at the same time there was a splashing sound. The falling drops of water landed on Shiyu's body, and Shiyu got wet almost instantly. Water was dripping from her hair, but Shiyu wasn't in the mood to care if she got wet. Instead, he stared at the violently turbulent lake. The power of ninjutsu has really improved. Of course, the increase in the power of water style may be partly due to the mastery of nature transformation. Shiyu itself has chakra of water attribute. Mastering nature transformation makes ninjutsu stronger, and the relationship among them. It's as if you have both hands and feet, but if you want to dance, you may not be able to dance well, and nature transformation is like a dance teacher teaching you dance skills. Mastering the ninjutsu performed by nature transformation and not mastering it are completely different things. But this is not only because of mastering nature transformation, but also because of the skill column. Water style keeps running, allowing Shiyu to gain more experience, and the power of water style becomes stronger. Maybe even water style's nature transformation is still being enhanced. Nature transformation, Shiyu does not think it is a fixed state, and the state that each person can achieve is different. The reason why there is no system prompt now. It's just that after learning this skill, Daxian reference mark should have no way to continue to analyze it for Shiyu because the skill is damaged. Shiyu couldn't hold back the smile on his face when he lowered his head. Judging from the previous situation of hanging other skills, the longer the hanging time, the stronger the power of ninjutsu. Although it is getting stronger little by little, if it keeps hanging like this, the problem of chakra consumption is not considered. Then Shiyu can even directly turn into a tsunami-level wave impact with a sip of sea-level water style. So that in the end, maybe a water style can flood most of the ninja world. As long as there is enough time, Shiyu believes that it is absolutely possible to achieve such an effect. The skill bar can continuously enhance the power of ninjutsu, infinite enhancement, which means that my ninjutsu can be upgraded infinitely. Even if it is a low-level ninjutsu, it can also explode with the power of an S-level ninjutsu. This is the real ninja romance. The skill bar has brought too many surprises to Shiyu. It's almost like being omnipotent. Detecting that the host has completed a skill release beyond the fixed skill quality. Whether to update the skill status. It is natural that the water style, water chaos that I just released surpassed the quality of the previous water style. The current Shiyu and the previous Shiyu are not the same person at all. In just one day, earth-shaking changes have taken place. Although I am very happy that ninjutsu can be upgraded infinitely, and its power continues to increase. But there is also a problem. Shiyu looked helpless. The release of water style just now consumed more than half of my chakra. Although the power is strong, it seems that there is no way to let Shiyu release it continuously. Of course, if you deliberately control chakra, it is possible to reduce the power. But in this way, the effect of hanging water style is not so great. Even hanging ninjutsu makes ninjutsu too powerful, consumes too much chakra, and I can't even use it myself, which makes people speechless. Shiyu glanced at the wet clothes on his body. The core thing of a ninja is chakra. If you have enough chakra, why worry about this kind of problem? Forget it, let's restore the previous passive skill bar configuration. Passive skill 1 to 6, chakra refining technique. Passive skill 7, school level physical skills. Although I don't catch a cold when I'm soaked, it's very uncomfortable. Shiyu was about to go home and change into clean clothes. There is still half a day before it is time to go to bed at night. This period of time can be used to update the skill status of the chakra refining technique. The current state of chakra refining technique has been updated once, but what if Shiyu can do better? Then the chakra refined in the passive skill column will be more, and the amount of chakra will grow faster. A low-level water-style ninjutsu, the power of which can be exploded after hanging for more than 10 minutes. You can instantly evacuate most of your chakra. This kind of consumption is simply not something the current Shiyu can afford. Therefore, increasing the amount of chakra is the primary task. Go home. Shiyu put on new clothes. Shiyu has never been willing to wear this new outfit. A black long-sleeved jacket with silver-white chains on the cuffs and chest pockets. The style is very non-mainstream, but I have to say that in the Hokage world, such a dress is nothing. Instead, it made Shiyu feel very trendy, with his already handsome face. Putting on this dress, there are white short sleeves and black casual trousers on the lower body. A head of black hair drooped casually, half covering his eyes. All of a sudden, a melancholy and cold breath appeared. Shiyu seemed to be a completely different person. It was too ostentatious that Shiyu didn't dress up like this before. It's better not to be so eye-catching for mediocre him. But what if Shiyu is confident and attractive now? Instead, what Shiyu needs is attention. Putting on this body, Shiyu went back to the room again, sat down cross-legged and started chakra refining. Dedicate yourself to chakra refining. This time Shiyu did not pursue speed, but perfection. Under normal circumstances, a chakra refinement can be completed in about 10 minutes. Shiyu's talent is relatively poor, and it takes 15 to 20 minutes to complete one time. But this time Shiyu only completed one chakra refinement for an hour. Slow work and meticulous work, as expected after Shiyu finished refining the chakra. Not only can I feel the chakra refined this time, but it is even more powerful than the chakra refined before. Detecting that the host has completed a skill release beyond the fixed skill quality. Skill status is being updated. The chakra refining effect this time is equivalent to twice as much as before. After the skill status is updated, it means that every 5 minutes Shiyu can get twice as much chakra as before. At the same time, chakra's power is also stronger. Continue. It's just that Shiyu won't be satisfied. For the rest of the day, the status of the chakra refining technique must be updated at least 3 times. To bring chakra distillation to ultimate perfection. Only in this way can chakra grow faster. The waves of chakra surged again in Shiyu's room. But this time Shiyu has increased speed while pursuing quality. However, after 40 minutes, Shiyu opened his eyes and successfully completed a refinement. But the skill status is not updated. Not every time you can do better than before. However, Shiyu was not discouraged, and continued to start the third chakra refining after a 10-minute rest. This time Shiyu was more focused and attentive. The afternoon passed quickly. When Shiyu successfully completes 3 status updates. The time has come to 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. It's finally completed. The current chakra refining technique should be in the most perfect state for me now. Each refinement can achieve 5 times the previous effect. Every 5 minutes, 6 strands of chakra are extracted each time, which is equivalent to the previous 30 extractions. Shiyu fell asleep on the bed after speaking. Refining chakra does not consume Shiyu's spiritual power, but doing things with concentration also consumes spiritual power. However, Shiyu fell asleep, but the passive skills are still active. Passive skills 1 to 6 complete a run. Passive skills 1 to 6 complete a run. Passive skills 1 to 6 complete a run. The next morning, when the sun rose, it fell on Shiyu's bed through the window, shining into Shiyu's eyes. The dazzling light made Shiyu feel uncomfortable even with his eyes closed. After opening his eyes and waking up, Shiyu rubbed his eyes. Looking around, and calling out the passive skill bar to have a look again, Shiyu lay down again in the right direction. Then I got up and washed my face. Shiyu begins to feel his own chakra. No idea how much chakra was added in one night. However, when Shiyu felt the chakra in his body suddenly doubled, he was completely dumbfounded. That much chakra has been added in one night. If you follow the original chakra refining technique, you will definitely not be able to achieve this effect. The main reason is that Shiyu has updated the skill status of the refining technique many times. Now it's different for 5 times at a time. The painstaking efforts to update the skill status yesterday were not in vain. With this growth rate, now my chakra volume has completely exceeded Genin's level. At least it's at Chunin's level. The harvest in one night is more than the past 6 years of penance. This is the power of the skill bar. Now my chakra volume has reached the level of Chunin. Compared to ordinary Genin, my amount of chakra is already 6 or 7 times theirs. This kind of chakra is in the ninja school. Among the current students, there is probably no one other than Naruto who has more chakra than Shiyu. It is even placed among the ninjas who are already Genin, except for those Genin who have not been promoted to Chunin for more than 10 years. The amount of other Genin chakra will definitely not be more than Shiyu. Boom boom boom. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Shiyu, are you up yet? There was a voice outside the door. Shiyu was very familiar with this voice. Isn't it Moonlight Gale? Running to find myself early in the morning. Opening the door, Shiyu looked at Moonlight Gale standing outside, with dark circles under his eyes and a pale face. Although he also looked like this yesterday, why does he feel like he is a little weaker today? Brother Haifeng, did you have anything to do with me early in the morning? Hearing this, Yugong Gaifeng smiled helplessly. Didn't you just say, just call me brother? Forget it, you're used to calling it that way. As he spoke, he took out the ninjutsu scroll in his arms and threw it to Shiyu. This is the illusion you wanted yesterday. I found one for you, but it's just the simplest basic visual illusion. It's okay against some ordinary people, but basically useless against ninjas. Shiyu scratched his head in embarrassment. The other party helped him find the illusion scroll, but he even changed his name back to others. Have you had breakfast yet? Hearing this, Shiyu shook his head. Get dressed and follow me. Go to the street and I'll treat you to breakfast. Okay. Immediately, after putting away the illusion scroll given by Haifeng, Shiyu went back to the room and quickly washed and tidied up. Gale at the door saw that Shiyu's dress today was different from before, which made him look even more imposing. And it feels like a different person. The current Shiyu is radiant and very eye-catching. This outfit makes you look much more handsome. You should have dressed like this before. Talking about Haifeng, he smiled. I don't know why Shiyu suddenly changed his dressing style, but at this age and yesterday, Shiyu said that he had an appointment with a classmate. Probably to attract the attention of female classmates. It's nice to be young. By the way, bring your wooden sword. Hearing this, Shiyu casually took the wooden sword at the door. Brother Haifeng, are we going to train swordsmanship again? Of course. Haifeng looked at Shiyu very seriously. Your talent in swordsmanship must not be wasted, so I will supervise your swordsmanship training. However, I have a task this afternoon, and I have nothing to do in the morning. I will practice swordsmanship with you. Forehead. Shiyu originally had his own plans. Rather than practicing swordsmanship, Shiyu wants to immediately experience the effect of putting illusion on the skill bar. But now it seems that it is impossible in the morning, so we have to wait until the afternoon to try again. I ate a very nutritious breakfast casually on the street. This time I didn't go to Konoha's training ground. The wind brought Shiyu to the outskirts of Konoha village, a secluded forest. Okay, let's practice swordsmanship here. Said Gaifeng leaned against a big tree, looked at Shiyu. You start with basic swordsmanship. Consolidation is needed every day, starting from the foundation, and building a taller building after laying a good foundation. This sentence is quite good. Shiyu shrugged and walked to the middle of the clearing with his wooden sword. Gently shook his fist. Feeling the power, Shiyu had a smile on his face. In one night, Shiyu not only increased the amount of chakra, but also strengthened his physique a lot. Although the progress is not as exaggerated as the amount of chakra, it is still amazing. The strength now is more than twice that of before. And the physical skills hanging on the skill bar will not only increase Shiyu's strength, but also comprehensively increase his physique, speed, reaction, etc. In other words, Shiyu's speed and physique have also been strengthened to twice the original. This is only because of one physical skill. If 7 physical skills are used, it may not be a problem to really rely on physical fitness to become a god. Correct. What if Konoha Ryu's swordsmanship was used? Single quote. Shiyu glanced at Gale beside him. Although there are some differences between swordsmanship and physical skills, they are both essentially close combat abilities. Physical skills can enhance one's physique, so sword skills should also be able to do it. Try changing skills. Skills installed successfully. Passive skill 7. Konoha style swordsmanship. Shiyu exhaled lightly, and began to practice basic swordsmanship according to Moonlight Galawan's request. As soon as he shot, Moonlight Gale nodded in satisfaction. Basic swordsmanship is still very solid, even he can't tell what's wrong. A set of basic swordsmanship exercises ended in less than 30 seconds. Passive skill 7 completes a run. Does it take 30 seconds or so to complete a run? This is slightly longer than the running time of physical arts. But Shiyu suddenly felt that his fingers seemed to be much more flexible, and he suddenly took the sword. A sword pierced out. The speed has increased by about a third. The wooden sword pierced through the air, making a faint sound of breaking wind. Moonlight Gale, who looked a little sleepy while sitting under the tree, suddenly regained his energy. He stared at Shiyu. The speed of the sword is faster and more accurate than yesterday. Single quote. I have already reached the almost perfect Konoha-style swordsmanship. Can I still make a breakthrough in a short period of time? Single quote. This is no longer a swordsman genius, this is a swordsman ghost. Swish swish swish. Shiyu performed the Konoha Ryu swordsmanship, not only faster, but also a lot more responsive. 10 forms of Konoha-style swordsmanship, 1 form per second, and it takes 10 seconds to complete. It took Sasuke 7 seconds to complete the Konoha Ryu sword art. After putting away the wooden sword, Shiyu seemed to understand the role of hanging sword skills on the skill bar. If it is said that Teishu is all-round self-strengthening, so although swordsmanship also belongs to the category of physical arts, it is more targeted. Swordsmanship mainly increases reaction power, speed, and swordsmanship itself. And the enhancement of swordsmanship itself is not power, but an enhancement of experience and skills, and most importantly, the speed, accuracy, and strength of swordsmanship. Of course, Shiyu's physique should also be increased, but the effect of the increase is not as good as physical skills. Each has its own advantages. Compared with physical skills, swordsmanship is on the skill bar, which can increase my combat effectiveness at this stage faster. Single quote. The only martial art in the world is fast. Single quote. Detecting that the host has completed a skill release beyond the fixed skill quality. Whether to update the skill status. The skill status of Konoha-style swordsmanship can be updated. Of course it will be updated. After the update, the effect is stronger, and every time you run it, you can greatly increase your speed and response. Renew. Single quote. Shiyu said silently in his heart. At the same time, he is also preparing to continue practicing Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. Anyway, this morning, he is expected to be monitored by Moonlight Gale to practice swordsmanship. Simply try to update the Konoha Ryu swordsmanship to the most perfect state. However, when Shiyu wanted to start going on again, Moonlight Gale suddenly stopped Shiyu. Shiyu, wait a moment, the effect of practicing alone is limited. Why don't I practice with you? Practice with me. Shiyu glanced at Haifeng. Did he want to fight himself? Just watching Shiyu practice swordsmanship is indeed perfect, which makes Haifeng feel ashamed. But what would it be like to actually fight? You must know that there is still a difference between practice and real combat. Brother Haifeng, you are also a Jonin after all. I haven't graduated yet, isn't it bullying if you accompany me to practice swordsmanship? Although Shiyu has changed a lot now, he is also blindly arrogant and thinks that he can beat Moonlight Gale. Don't worry, it's just practice, we don't use chakra with each other, and we don't use any ninjutsu, just swordplay. Oh, this is interesting. This means that if only swordsmanship is used to compete, then Shiyu is quite interested. The skill bar has brought so many improvements, but Shiyu is also a little curious about what his real combat power looks like. Shiyu nodded. Then you can give it a try. Bring it on. The two stood facing each other at a distance of 10 meters. At the same time, he raised the wooden sword in the posture of Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. And now, the third generation, who just came to the Hokage building, was thinking about the kid called Shiyu that Moonlight Hayate said yesterday, and was going to take a look. This is said by Moonlight Hayate to be a genius boy comparable to Konoha's White Fang. I was too busy yesterday and haven't seen what this kid looks like. Taking out his peeping crystal ball, third generation put his hands on the crystal ball. The telescope technique third generation has already been perfected, and has even reached the point where it can be released at will without the need for seals. As long as he was within Konoha range, he could look wherever he wanted. When third generation observed Shiyu with the telescope technique, he happened to see him and Haifeng posing for a fight. Oh, is Haifeng practicing with this brat? Third generation smiled. Then he looked at Shiyu, but the moment he saw Shiyu, third generation was really surprised. What a handsome brat. The genes of the Moonlight clan are pretty good. Both Yugong Haifeng and Yugong Shiyu can be said to be proper handsome guys, while Shiyu has more potential than Haifeng. After looking at the appearance, third generation noticed something more interesting. Both Shiyu and Haifeng are using Konoha Ryu swordsmanship at the moment. But Shiyu's posture was a little different. Compared with Yugong Galifang's holding the sword with both hands, Shiyu chose to hold the sword with one hand, and put the other hand on the left rear side of his body. Just one change made third generation feel different. The flaw in Konoha Ryu's swordplay is where Shiyu's left hand is placed. But if he made a slight change like Shiyu's, the flaws would be made up immediately. This kid really only learned Konoha Ryu swordsmanship yesterday. Single quote. Moonlight Gale also noticed Shiu's change, but he didn't have the same vision as third generation. He just felt that Shiu held a knife with one hand and looked down on him. Originally wanted to wait for Shiu's attack, but now Haifeng chooses to attack directly. Step forward, although not using chakra, nor ninjutsu. But Jonin's physique is not a bit stronger than Genin's, and the speed of the blast is very fast. Jumping directly in front of Shiu, the wooden knife in his hand slashed towards Shiu's neck from the lower left. This is the third form of Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. Shiu discovered the flaw in the opponent's Konoha Ryu swordsmanship the moment the opponent made a move. He took half a step back slightly, tilted his body slightly to the right, and stabbed out with a sword. Shiu didn't use Konoha Ryu swordsmanship, but simply stabbed straight. At this moment, the pipe that third generation was holding in his mouth suddenly dropped. Because in the next second, the Konoha-style swordsmanship performed by Moonlight Gale was forced to stop, and now the only choice left for him was to retreat or change his moves. Haifeng directly used the fifth form, and while the wooden knife was blocked, the blade turned its head and cut towards Shiu's waist. At this moment, Shiu raised his left hand suddenly, pressing down on the blade. Changing from a stab to a vertical block, the wooden swords collided with each other, and there was a clear sound of impact. It should have been Gale Wind who had won the fight. After all, the power of Gale is definitely stronger than Shiu now. But Shiu holding the knife with one hand and pressing the back of the knife with one hand to exert force is better than Haifeng holding the knife with both hands. It directly blocked the knife. And at the moment of blocking, Shiu's movement happened to be the movement of performing the seventh form of Konoha Ryu swordsmanship. A knife slashed on Gale's wrist. Suddenly, the palm became weak due to the pain, and the wooden knife was dropped immediately. The flying wooden knife is still in the air. Haifeng was taken aback, and quickly prepared to step back to create a distance to avoid being attacked by Shiu. But Shiu seems to have been ready for a long time. The 10th form of Konoha Ryu swordsmanship, a sudden acceleration, the moment Shiu and Gaifeng intertwined. Shiu's wooden sword was already at Gale's throat. Beep! The wooden sword fell to the ground. At the same time in Hokage's office, third generation's pipe fell on the desk. Third generation stared blankly at the scene in front of him. In the swordsmanship contest, Shiu used 3 moves, and only used 3 moves to defeat Konoha's present Jonin Chunin, Moonlight Gale with superb swordsmanship. And it is still using the Konoha Ryu sword technique that is the most grandmaster of Haifeng. Is this really a kid who hasn't even graduated from ninja school? Sarutobi stared at Shiu in the picture dumbfounded, and pointed upwards at the wooden sword at Haifeng's throat. Shiu pressed the end of the hilt with his left hand, and he could use his right hand as a fulcrum to lift Gale upwards at any time. At the same time, if this was a real sword, Gale might end up being pierced through his throat by a sword. Take a deep breath. Third generation slowly picked up the pipe and put it on his mouth again. Looking at Shiu in the picture, this brat is indeed a genius in swordsmanship. As long as you train a little bit, becoming the second White Fang is definitely not a problem. Shiu's performance really surprised third generation. For a kid who hasn't graduated from ninja school to be able to do this is indeed a genius. In the future, Shiu's chakra and ninjutsu will also grow. Well, it is safe to say that Jonin level combat power, even if he can't become as powerful as White Fang, he can grow into an elite Jonin without any problem. Thinking of this, third generation has already begun to have some ideas. Ninja school is about to graduate. Single quote. You have to think carefully about class division. Single quote. Third generation smiled thinking about it. At this time, someone knocked on the door, and third generation put away the crystal ball. He is Hokage who is busy every day. Moonlight Gale looked at Shiu, and then at the wooden sword stuck to his throat. Couldn't help but swallowed his saliva. Although looking at Shiu in front of him, you are doing very well. I didn't expect you to be able to comprehend swordsmanship to such an extent. Obviously, I only taught this kid Konoha Ryu swordsmanship yesterday. It's already surpassed me today. Didn't this kid go on a date with a classmate yesterday? No time to practice at all. In other words, after this kid learns it once, he can use it better than me. The more Moonlight Gale thought about it, the more incredible it became. This is no longer a question of genius. It's almost like being born with it. Monster. It's all taught by Brother Haifeng. Xiu slowly put away the wooden sword. In fact, Xiu himself was a little surprised that Moonlight Gale was solved so easily. Is it because my swordsmanship is too strong, or is this guy too good? Xiu himself couldn't believe it. At this time, Gale went to the side and picked up the wooden sword that had fallen from the ground. Then he turned his head to look at Xiu, feeling a bit overwhelmed by the current blast. He is a dignified Jonin of Konoha, and he was easily defeated by a school kid in swordsmanship. This also seems to be too weak. Thinking of this, the wind coughed a few times. Xiu turned to look at him, and Gaifeng showed a gratified expression. Yes, I only used half of my strength just now, and you were able to defeat me easily. But don't be proud, continue to practice hard. If I use all my strength, you won't be so easy. Only used half the power. Really? Xiu felt that Haifeng seemed a little guilty when he said this. Ahem, a real ninja fight is not as simple as a sword fight. If I use chakra, my speed will be even faster. With the Jonin technique at the same time, you will have no resistance at all. Gale suddenly showed a slightly smug smile. Do you know why I can be a special Jonin? I'm not only good at swordsmanship, but also I can use special penetration to hide my breath so that the enemy can't find it. Through the dungeon combined with Konoha-style swordsmanship. The power possessed by the cooperation of the two is indeed not that simple. Xiu himself could imagine a master swordsman who hides his figure, and can also hide his aura. Suddenly coming out from a certain corner, basically if there is not a huge gap in strength. Generally, it is difficult to get out of the whole body. Xiu nodded, suddenly thought of something, turning his head to look at Moonlight Gale, through done. Is it Blood Successor's boundary? Hearing this, Yugong Galifang nodded, that's right. Is this the blood succession limit of the Moonlight clan? Forehead. Faced with this problem, Yugong Galifang didn't know how to explain it. If it is said to be the blood successor limit of the Moonlight clan, it doesn't seem to be considered. After all, he is the only one in the Moonlight clan who has this special ability for the time being. However, if it is not true, Tu Dun is indeed considered as blood successor limit and he is also a member of the Moonlight clan. Haifeng thought for a while, maybe it is. But now I am the only one in the Moonlight clan who can use this ability. Xiu looked at Haifeng a little excitedly. He suddenly had a bold idea. If I use Daxian asterisk to analyze the limit of blood successor, can I directly grasp the limit of blood successor? Single quote. Thinking of this, Xiu began to look forward to it. The effect of Daxian reference mark is to analyze skills, and it can analyze any new skills. So what about blood succession limit? If he could even successfully analyze the blood succession limit, he would be soaring into the sky. Brother Haifeng, can you teach me through done? What if I also have the talent to use through done? Haifeng looked at Xiu with a troubled expression on his face. The possibility of this is quite, very small, but it doesn't matter if Xiu tries it. At the same time, showing the power of translucency also made Xiu not to underestimate his special Jonin. Okay, alright. With Haifeng's consent, Xiu breathed out lightly, then stared at Haifeng. Brother Haifeng, let's start. Tu Dun's basic stealth ability can be activated at any time, but if it's just stealth, it's actually not a very strong ability. After all, a powerful ninja can determine your approximate position even through breath. It needs to cooperate with the ninjutsu of penetrating escape, so that the breath can also be hidden so that people can't perceive it at all. Let me teach you how to seal first. Then I will briefly teach you to try it out to see if you have the talent to escape. Although he is also from the Moonlight clan, Haifeng doesn't think there is a second clan member with the same talent as him. Absolutely not. Detect host is learning new skills. Daxian reference mark, activate. Analyzing, 1%. 2%, 3%. The analysis speed this time is completely different from before, with a 1% 101% increase, and this growth rate seems to be telling Xiu from the side. Analyzing the blood succession limit is not that simple. Alright, now you understand. Haifeng gave a simple demonstration, but Xiu took a look at his analysis progress. 32%. After Haifeng spoke once, Xiu only resolved to 32%, and it has now stopped. Brother Haifeng, please, can you explain it 2 more times, I can't quite understand it. Seeing Xiu begging himself, Haifeng also smiled. Although the talent of swordsmanship is outstanding, but in ninjutsu, Shiu's talent does not seem to be very good. Okay, we still have time anyway. Moonlight Gale repeatedly told Shiu how to use the transparency in various skills. After talking back and forth 4 or 5 times, Haifeng is a little impatient, so don't force yourself if you can't learn it. He didn't hold out hope at first. But Shiu obviously didn't want to give up easily. But this kind of thing is not something you can get by insisting. Shiu, you don't have to be discouraged if you don't have the talent to escape. Your unique swordsmanship talent is already very good. I can teach you stronger swordsmanship. Analysis completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring new skills. Through escape. Real. It's done. Although the speed of analysis was a bit full, Haifeng went back and forth here to demonstrate, explain, and teach himself for nearly an hour. But still successfully parsed. It seems that the blood successor boundary can also be analyzed successfully, but it just takes a long time. At the same time, blood successors like Tudun are not considered strong, and they still need an hour of analysis time. What if it is a stronger blood inheritance limit? Sharingan's blood successor, Wood-style blood successor, and how long it will take for these blood successors to complete the analysis. Daxian reference mark. If this skill is complete, it doesn't take too much time. Whoa, is it? If the skills are completely restored, how much faster will it be? Shiu was looking forward to it. Shiu, you don't have to be discouraged. The blood succession boundary is something that is innate, and secondly, it can be acquired through cultivation. If you are really interested in Through-dun, I can tell you how I developed this ability in the future. Maybe you can do it too. Speaking of this, Yugong Galifeng secretly added something in his heart. Although Shuiji boundary can also be cultivated the day after tomorrow, it is basically as difficult as reaching the sky, and it is completely impossible. Single quote. In the history of the development of the ninja world, all blood successor limit families are basically upgraded because of some kind of upgrade, which led to the appearance of blood succession limit. And if you want to practice and develop the bleeding inheritance boundary by yourself, it is impossible for someone to do that kind of thing. But Brother Haifeng, I feel like I will. That's right, transmitting dungeon is very special, but it's not a very strong blood inheritance boundary. Even if you don't master it, it won't affect your swordsmanship. Moonlight Gallowin suddenly realized that there seemed to be something wrong. Looking at Shiu, what did you just say? I said, I think I will. Meeting, will it? Moonlight Gale was stunned for a moment, then smiled faintly. How can this be? Although Tudun is not a very strong blood successor limit, it is still considered a blood succession limit. At the beginning, I also wanted to prevent the enemy from finding me when I was performing a mission. This led to the accidental mastery of Through-dun. This is not the blood successor limit of the Moonlight clan. How could this brat, Shiu, possibly master it? His smile clearly tells Shiu that he doesn't believe it at all. And Shiu didn't say too much, and directly and simply sealed the knot. The body began to become transparent. And when Shiu completely disappeared in front of Haifeng, Yugong Haifeng's expression gradually changed from calm to shocked. How? How is it possible? You really learned how to escape? Shiu slowly appeared, breaking the transparent state. Then he looked at his hands very excitedly. The feeling of using Through-dun is really special. Well, I did learn it. Shiu responded lightly, but Haifeng looked at Shiu's calm look. He couldn't keep calm anymore. No. The Gale that retreated again and again looked at Shiu. Impossible. It doesn't make sense. Single quote. Tudun, how did he learn it? Single quote. Although I have spent more than an hour painstakingly speaking, can this thing be learned in just one lecture? If this is the case, I am afraid that the ninjas of Shuiji boundary will have classes every day. No. But watching Shiu perform the penetration again, this time not only Shiu's body disappeared, but he couldn't even feel his breath. This is a proper penetration effect. He really has completely mastered Tudun. Gai Feng scratched his head. Could it be Through-dun? Is it really the blood successor limit of my Moonlight clan? Single quote. If other clansmen know this news, they will go crazy and try their best to develop Tudun. If Tudun is not the blood successor limit of the Moonlight clan, how does this explain Shiu's situation? Could it be that in the hour or so he talked about, he developed Through-dun with his own efforts? There are two explanations. Haifeng feels that he is more willing to believe the former, and this is the blood succession limit of the Moonlight clan. If Xiu could develop a blood succession limit by listening to it himself. That's too scary. Is it still human? Xiu feels the power of penetration. Although it is the blood successor limit, what is the chakra attribute of the fusion? His chakra attribute is known to be water, and judging from his civilian talent, it is estimated that there is only one chakra attribute. How is it possible for a chakra attribute to develop hemorrhagic succession? I'm afraid this will be studied slowly later. At this moment, Haifeng looked at Xiu, who reappeared, and immediately grabbed Xiu's shoulders with both hands. Although I don't know why, you managed to master two dun so smoothly. But with the blessing of transcension and your sword skills, you will definitely become Konoha's elite jonin in the future. Xiu, the future of the Moonlight clan depends on you. Rely on me. Xiu smiled helplessly and nodded, don't worry. Suddenly Haifeng seemed to think of something, stood up and coughed a few times. Then he looked at Xiu with a serious face, and his eyes suddenly became a little scary, his face was gloomy, and he looked like a villain. By the way, now that you have mastered the transmittal, I am here to give you a serious warning. Don't use this ability to peep, understand? Xiu thought what this guy was going to say. It turned out to be this. Brother Haifeng, don't worry. I'm not such a nasty person. If I want to see a girl, I will pursue it openly, and then let her take the initiative to show it to me. Seeing Xiu's upright gaze, Haifeng's face changed a bit. Don't you have any idea at all? This is through escape, a magical skill that men dream of. With it, you will never be found peeping at the women's bathhouse, and the graceful figure of any woman will be presented in front of your eyes. To escape is a man's magical skill. No, the focus now should not be this. Xiu looked at Haifeng's sunken eye sockets and thick dark circles. With these warnings, Xiu seemed to understand. Why does this guy look depressed all day long, this guy? Brother Haifeng, you look very imaginary, don't you often steal? Haifeng quickly covered Xiu's mouth. Don't talk nonsense, I don't, how could I do such a thing? He muttered softly. I only watch it once in a while. Xiu looked at Haifeng with contempt. I didn't expect Haifeng to do such a thing. Is it necessary to be so handsome? And if I remember well, this guy should have a girlfriend. Thinking of this, Xiu smiled. Brother Haifeng, you seem to have a girlfriend. Hearing this, Haifeng was stunned for a moment. Ah. Yes, what's wrong? What's wrong with having a girlfriend at my age? If Brother Haifeng's girlfriend knows that you are peeping at the women's bathhouse. Hearing this, Gale burst into a cold sweat. Xiu looked at Haifeng sinisterly. You don't want your girlfriend to know. So, hee. Hey, what do you want to do, boy? Haifeng took 2 steps back strategically, holding his chest with both hands, looking at Xiu in horror. How can you be so good at such a young age? As long as Brother Haifeng teaches me the shadow clone technique, I think I may have heard it wrong just now. Seeing Xiu rubbed his hands with a sinister look on his face. Haifeng breathed a sigh of relief. Just take a breath if it's not good. But it is too early for Xiu to learn shadow clone technique. At least Haifeng thinks it's too early. Want to learn shadow clone? Wait until you graduate. Brother Haifeng, if you are like this, I will. I remembered, I still have tasks, I'm leaving first, you continue to practice, don't relax. Swish. The blast disappeared instantly. If you don't teach the shadow clone technique, you can teach a body flicker technique. However, Gaifeng didn't listen to Xiu's words, and disappeared without a trace in an instant. Xiu was helpless. Hey, doesn't such a threat work? Of course, Xiu will not really go to inform, after all, Haifeng has helped him a lot. It would be ungrateful to go to inform again. Never mind. There's always a chance. Both shadow clone and body flicker technique can be learned sooner or later. The problem now is still the amount of chakra, but now. Xiu wanted to study the issue of Tu Dun more carefully. Through Dun can make himself invisible and even hide his breath. If Haifeng in the original book hadn't been killed by the plot, he would not have been discovered with his penetration. Even the breath is hidden, how could it be discovered? Not everyone has white eyes and can directly see the flow of chakra. And Tu Dun's real nemesis should be only white eyes. Xiu controlled chakra, raised his hand and watched the arm slowly disappear in front of him. This blood successor's ability is not weak, but it's a pity that he was restrained by Bayan. No matter whether he is invisible or hiding his breath, Bayan can see the flow of chakra. It is not too easy to see through the invisible directly through this point. Although I don't necessarily need to fight with the Hyuga clan, but in case I do meet, wouldn't I be helpless? Shiyu looked at the other hand, the wooden sword that was also covered by 2 dun chakra, and disappeared before his eyes. Covered with chakra, even things that do not belong to themselves can also be invisible. Single quote. What about ninjutsu? Single quote. If you add the Jonin technique through the escape, and use the effect of the escape to make the ninjutsu invisible, wouldn't it be impossible to defend against the attack? Thinking of this, Shiyu wanted to try a little. Find a good location. Shiyu is ready to release water style, water chaos. After all, this is the only escape technique he currently knows. In the process of releasing ninjutsu in Jian, chakra gathered in his throat, and the water flowed out in the next second. Deliberately controlling the power, the water flow is not too large. But in the process, Shiyu tried to integrate into the translucent chakra. Failed directly. Even water style stopped releasing. Chakra almost turned back and injured Shiyu. So close. After Shiyu stabilized chakra, he said with lingering fear. It seems that things like developing ninjutsu are not done casually. If you are not careful, you will kill yourself. Recalling the situation just now, the release of water style requires the nature transformation of the water attribute, but at the same time it wants to incorporate the effect of translucence. A transparent nature transformation is required. It is simply impossible to carry out 2 kinds of nature transformation at the same time. At least with Shiyu's control, it is impossible to do it at all. Chakra's rampage did not hurt Shiyu, which is considered light. Could it be that this penetration can only be used for the ability of invisibility? In this way, the effect of this blood inheritance is too little. It is best for chakra to only perform 1 nature transformation at a time. In this case, it can only be combined with non-attribute ninjutsu, such as clone technique, techniques such as shadow clone. No attribute. Where is Rasengan? There was light in Shiyu's eyes. Rasengan with no attribute should be able to do it. But in a blink of an eye, Shiyu began to smile helplessly again. Rasengan doesn't talk about development issues. Rasengan's own voice is too loud. Wouldn't it be funny to combine it with transcendence? The main highlight of Tudun is a surprise. The voice is exposed. How can it be a surprise? By surprise. Hidden weapon. Shiyu took out kunai from the ninja bag. The penetrating chakra immediately covered it, and sure enough, kunai disappeared in front of his eyes in the next second. However, Shiyu can still feel kunai being held in his hand. Yes, since it doesn't work with ninjutsu, it can work with hidden weapons. Single quote. The hidden weapon itself must be as unexpected as possible in order to be able to cause effective damage. Wouldn't it be just right to cooperate with Tudun? An invisible hidden weapon, it is difficult for the enemy to hide. Unless it is a powerful elite ninja who can judge the approximate direction to avoid by relying on the sound of the hidden weapon breaking the wind. Ordinary Jonin may not have the ability to avoid transparent hidden weapons. He casually threw out the kunai wrapped in tachin in his hand, and nailed it straight to the tree. It took 3 seconds for the hidden weapon to slowly appear. Shiyu had a smile on his face. It seems that if you want to develop this transparent hidden weapon move based on the penetration, you have to practice the skill of throwing the hidden weapon. Melee Konoha style swordsmanship, medium and long range, can use water waves to attack or interfere with the enemy. When unexpected, you can use the transparent hidden weapon to carry out a sneak attack. Not to mention ninjas of the same level, even if it is Chunin or even Jonin, it seems that Shiyu has the power to fight. Traveling and hidden weapons are indeed a good combination. If there is a shadow clone, combined with my own penetration, it will be really elusive, and the enemy will probably have a headache to death. My hidden weapon throwing level is only average in the ninja school. Not to mention the level of ninjas. Shiyu frowned. It seemed that he had to set aside a skill bar a little bit, and put the hidden weapon throw on it for a while. There is no need to improve the hidden weapon throwing too much, it only needs to reach a certain level. In this way, the power of cooperating with the penetration will be stronger. Passive Skill 6. Hidden Weapon Throwing. Remove one of the chakra refining techniques and replace it with hidden weapon throwing. In this way, the skill column of 1 to 5 is still chakra refining, which ensures the growth of chakra. 6 and 7 are hidden weapon throwing and Konoha-style swordsmanship respectively. Shiyu is also going to test how many kunai can be invisible at one time with his current level. However, the sound of the system sounded again. Passive skill 6, hidden weapon throwing. Complete a run. It only took a few seconds, and it was completed once. Nice. This speed. Staring at the big tree in the distance, Shiyu raised his hand and threw out 2 kunai. According to Shiyu's original level, it's pretty good that these 2 kunai can be nailed to the target range. However, this time both kunai landed in the central area of the trunk. Can throw kunai to the target area, and they are all close to the crosshair. This is already a small progress. Passive skill 6. Complete a run. Once in a few seconds, this speed is quite fast. However, the ability of hidden weapon throwing technique is not difficult to cultivate. It runs fast and works fine. 10 minutes. 10 minutes is neither too long nor too short, but Shiyu has clearly felt great progress. The moment the kunai came out of his hand, not only the kunai's speed was amazing. Even when it hit the tree trunk, it made an extremely crisp impact sound. Boom! Nearly half of the blade of Kuei pierced into the trunk. The kunai power of throwing has also increased a lot. More importantly, now Shiyu is looking at the tree trunk. From top to bottom, 10 kunai are photographed vertically. The distance between each kunai is about 10 centimeters, and the error is not more than 1 or 2 centimeters. This is the enhancement of control, and at the same time, the enhancement of Kuei's strength, and the accuracy has also improved rapidly. It's only been 10 minutes. If you continue to hang the hidden weapon throwing technique on the skill bar, it will take another hour, and I don't know how far it will grow. This speed of strengthening visible to the naked eye is simply unstoppable. There is no problem at all with a distance of 15 meters. So, Shiyu had a smile on his face. Increase the distance. He stepped back another 10 meters. It is now 25 meters away. Shiyu raised his hand and threw a shuriken directly. The shuriken in the air rotated rapidly, making a swishing sound of breaking the wind. Next second, boom, pierced directly into the trunk. Shiyu frowned. The distance is longer, and the accuracy is much worse. Looking at the shuriken that deviates from Shiyu's target position by about 5 centimeters, this deviation is fatal in battle. It seems that the hidden weapon throwing technique will have to continue for a while. Shiyu's requirements are not high, and he can accurately hit the target position within 30 meters. At the same time, the strength can't be too bad. Otherwise, it is just to scratch the opponent's skin lightly, then it will live up to the effect of to escape. And Shiyu kept throwing hidden weapons. The main purpose of doing this is not to practice to speed up progress, but to refresh the state of the skill. The status refresh of hidden weapon throwing is much simpler than that of chakra refining. Within half an hour, Shiyu refreshed the status about 10 times. The boost from hidden weapon throwing gets bigger with each run. At the same time, Shiyu actually felt that his wrist strength had increased a lot. The enhancement of wrist strength is also very helpful for Shiyu's swordsmanship. After discovering this, for the next 3 hours, Shiyu practiced concealed weapon throwing. But after 3 hours of uninterrupted practice, Shiyu felt that his hand was about to be dislocated. The hidden weapon throwing technique has also refreshed the state more than 30 times. On average, the status is refreshed 10 times an hour. Now the effect of passive operation should be close to the limit of what Shiyu can do. Very tired, Shiyu finally sat down and planned to rest for a while. It's impossible to use only one skill without consumption. I should get 2 hidden weapon throwing skills, so my hands won't be so uncomfortable, Shiyu said. Suddenly Shiyu stood up with a groan. Hanging 2 skills at the same time can achieve no consumption. Then I have 2 physical skills at the same time. Doesn't it mean that in battle, my physical strength is unlimited? 2 body skills, plus 2 chakra, that is to say, it can be done. Crazy back to mana, unlimited physical strength. Not to mention the crazy back to blue, just the thing of unlimited physical strength makes Shiyu a little crazy. When you master the fairy art, then you may become, with unlimited chakra and unlimited physical strength. In other words, at this stage, on the one hand, I want to increase chakra crazily, and at the same time focus on improving my physical ability. Hang 2 physical skills into the skill bar, and you can directly become infinite physical strength. In this case, using physical attacks is naturally the best. And after mastering Shanjutsu, or after the amount of chakra is piled up, then you can transform into a ninja who combines ninjutsu and physical jutsu. Shiyu lay on the ground and couldn't help laughing. Afterwards, the concealed weapon throwing technique hung on the skill bar for a full 7 hours. The final effect far exceeded Shiyu's expectation. When coming home at night, Shiyu's concealed weapon throw has become quite pervert. Within the range of 10 meters to 15 meters, the thickness of the wooden material does not exceed 50 centimeters, and Shiyu's hidden weapon can directly penetrate it. The powerful burst of wrist power made the power of the hidden weapon very terrifying. It can accurately hit the target at a distance of 50 meters, and the flying speed of the hidden weapon is also amazing. This level is no longer genin, even jonin can't do it. If you continue to hang hidden weapon throwing on the skill bar, Shiyu believes that it will become stronger. But Shiyu traded it back for chakra refining. I have to go to school again tomorrow. At night, Shiyu was very helpless lying on the bed. He went to school before to learn more, but now Shiyu feels that he is restraining himself when he goes to school. If you have that time, you might as well refresh your skill status. Make progress faster. The amount of chakra has almost doubled. When Shiyu got up to wash in the morning, he looked at himself in the mirror. Since chakra is full, the mental state is very good. Shiyu looked very energetic, and at the same time felt the amount of chakra in his body. Sure enough, compared with before, the amount has doubled now. If the genius Sasuke is used as the unit of measurement, then Shiyu's chakra has reached 16 or 17 times that of Sasuke. At the same time, compared with Naruto, it only caught up to 1/3 of Naruto's volume. Compared to before, the increase in the amount of chakra has slowed down today. This is also normal, just like cultivating internal strength, the further you go, the slower it will be. It seems that after returning from school today, I have to spend time updating the status of the chakra refining technique. Otherwise, regardless of this, the amount of chakra enhanced by the chakra refining technique is too small. In fact, a chakra that doubles in one day is not slow at all. But Shiyu was still not satisfied. Greed is also the driving force behind human struggle. After tidying up, Shiyu opened the door and walked towards the ninja school. When he came to the school gate, he immediately attracted attention. The current Shiyu's dress is completely different from before, and the dress can be regarded as extremely gorgeous. Immediately attracted the attention of a large group of girls. This is, classmate Shiyu, you are so handsome today. What are you talking about? The former Shiyu classmate is also very handsome. But in the past, Shiyu's clothes were too ordinary, and he didn't show his handsome face at all. Yes, a large group of girls watched Shiyu enter the school. This striking feeling, Shiyu also felt differently. When I entered the school, I met acquaintances soon. The other party froze for a moment and looked at Shiyu in surprise. You guy, what happened today? Why does it feel like a different person? Is there? No. Shikamaru looked at Shiyu with a look of surprise. The usual Shiyu is not like this. Although Shiyu is handsome, he admits, but the expression of helplessness between Shiyu's eyebrows could not be concealed before. But today, Shiyu exudes a sense of self-confidence all over his body. At the same time, Shiyu's aura also changed, as if giving off a faint sense of oppression. Is this an illusion? His own strength is much stronger than Shiyu, how could he make himself feel oppressed? I also feel that today's Shiyu seems to be different. Choji, who was eating potato chips beside him, said seriously. Shiyu rolled his eyes. Go ahead and eat yours. Choji. Oh, good. You either. I quit, thank you. Come to the classroom. The classmates in the same class may be even more different. One after another looked at Shiyu. Even Sasuke couldn't help but look at Shiyu more. This guy changed his clothes, why does he feel like a different person? Single quote. Wow, Shiyu-sans, this change seems to be cooler than Sasuke-kun today. Such charming eyes, if I can't do it, I'm falling. As Shiyu's old deskmate, Ino's mouth has not closed since the first time he saw Shiyu today. Always maintain the state of being able to swallow eggs. Shiyu sat down calmly, turned his head and glanced at Ino. What's the matter? You don't know me anymore. Ino usually has a good relationship with Shiyu, and he often secretly looks at himself. But today Ino blushed when Shiyu stared at him. She is not Hinata's ultimate shy personality, but today she seems a little out of control. I didn't. No. Shiyu continued to approach, and a face was even closer to Ino. Today's perfume smells different, Shiyu said lightly, and then looked at Ino, who was so nervous that his heart beat faster. He is very satisfied with the effect. Yes, is there? As long as Shiyu-kun likes it. I really like it. Really, really. Both Shikamaru and Choji looked at Shiyu and Ino, who were sitting in front of them. Choji. Shikamaru, I feel like Ino can't talk anymore. Stuttering. Shikamaru rolled his eyes. No way, today's Shiyu is too lethal. Lethality. What lethality? You don't need to know, you probably will never understand this trouble. While Ino was stuttering and whispering to Shiyu, Naruto, pretending to be cool with his mouth, walked past Shiyu and then backed away. Grabbed Shiyu's shoulders so that Shiyu's face is facing him. Ino was speechless. He and Shiyu-kun were talking. What is Naruto going to do? Shiyu, have you had plastic surgery? Shiyu looked at Naruto calmly. What do you think? Shiyu usually has a good relationship with Naruto, and Naruto looked at Shiyu in surprise. Why does it feel like you are more handsome than before? It's okay to have Sasuke, but you seem to be more handsome than Sasuke, so isn't my little Sakura? Looking at the little Sakura, who is also peeking at Shiyu, Naruto feels that there is one more rival in love now. Sasuke looked at Naruto unhappily. What is a show bag? How dare this guy use such words to describe himself? At this moment, Iruka walked in, waving at Naruto, go back to your place and start class. As he spoke, he also noticed Shiyu, and Iruka was also surprised by Shiyu's change. But it didn't go too far like Naruto and the others. He just glanced at Shiyu differently. Student Shiyu, you feel very different today. Shiyu smiled. The real change, the teacher will know later. Is it? It looks very confident. That's right. That's what ninjas want to do. If you don't even believe in yourself, how can you perform the task well? Okay, let's start class. The day's class is over soon. The class time was a kind of enjoyment for Shiyu before, but now it is a kind of torment. There is no way to refresh the skill status, only to stare at the passive skill bar and run the skill over and over again. But the only interesting thing is to tease Ino, who is at the same table. Unlike before, now Ino remains cooked from beginning to end, and it is very interesting that the top of his head is almost steaming. After finally getting out of class, Shiyu greeted Ino, Shikamaru and others, and ran away in a hurry. Going home to update the skill status is the most important thing for Shiyu now. But Shiyu came home with 1 foot ahead, and there was a knock on the door with his back foot. Who? Shiyu, are you home? It's me. Uncle is here to see you. Uncle Masano. Shiyu was just about to take out the scroll of illusion, after learning it through skill analysis. See if you can enhance your mental power through illusion, thereby increasing the efficiency of his chakra refining technique again. Hearing the voice outside the door, Shiyu hurriedly opened the door. Moonlight Masano, a nearly 40-year-old chunin. The strength is average, but the relationship with his father seems to be very good, and he has been taking care of himself all these years. Shiyu is very grateful to Masano. Uncle Masano, come in. I'll get you some tea. Speaking of which, Shiyu began to get busy, and Masano was no stranger to Shiyu's house, and would come here 2 or 3 times a week. Go ahead, add more tea. Okay, Shiyu responded quickly. Soon the steaming hot tea was brought over by Shiyu. As a ninja, Masano has reached middle age, but his body is still very strong. It can also be seen from the thick arms that he is a powerful ninja. Shiyu, you are about to graduate, you have to work hard during this time. Hearing this, Shiyu nodded. Thank you, Uncle Masano, for your concern. Masano put his big hand out on Shiyu's head, and patted it lightly. You seem to be a little different, but this is good, don't frown like before all day long. You are so young, what do you have to worry about? Shiyu also nodded in response, yes. Okay, seeing you like this now, I feel relieved. As he spoke, he took out a small box, and inside the box was a small wallet, which contained Shiyu's living expenses. Uncle Masano, the money left by my parents is actually enough for me to use. Then how can it be done? Your parents have saved such a small amount of money all their lives. You still need to use it when you get married in the future. What if you spend it all now? Masano smiled as he said, don't worry. Although our Moonlight clan is not a big family, we can still support a little guy like you. Thanks. Thanks again, Shiyu. Seeing this, Masano has long been used to it, and it is precisely because of Shiyu's politeness that Masano likes Shiyu very much. At the same time, expectations are high. Okay, I'm leaving. Saying that, Masano got up. When he came to the door, Masano suddenly turned his head. Correct. When I came back yesterday, Hayate said that you wanted to find me. What kind of ninjutsu scroll? Shiyu was stunned for a moment, and then he was ready to say that he didn't need it anymore. Brother Haifeng has found the illusion scroll for himself. But Masano suddenly took out a ninjutsu scroll from his arms. Uncle, I don't know much ninjutsu, and I'm not a ninjutsu type ninja. However, I have a collection of fire-style ninjutsu scrolls here. You can try it. Uncle doesn't know if you can learn it. Anyway, try it. After speaking, Masano patted Shiyu on the shoulder and left directly. Look at the fire-style ninjutsu scroll in your hands. Shiyu smiled. This Uncle Masano has nothing to say about his kindness. For a chunin, ninjutsu scrolls are not so easy to get. Giving such a precious thing to yourself without blinking an eye. If it is the original Shiyu, it is impossible to master this fire style at all. Because his chakra attribute should only be water attribute without accident. So I couldn't learn fire style at all, but now it's different. Can you analyze this scroll? Daxian reference mark, analyzing. Shiyu opened the scroll, put it on the table and stared at it carefully. Analyzing. 1%, 1.5%. Does each increase only increase by 0.5? This is even slower than when I mastered the penetration before. But last time, Haifeng demonstrated and explained in person. At the same time, whenever Shiyu had doubts, Haifeng repeated it over and over again. But right now it's just a scroll, so it's not impossible to slow down the progress of analysis. As long as the analysis can be completed. Single quote. In order to speed up the progress of the analysis, Shiyu also began to try to condense the chakra in the body according to the method on the scroll, and at the same time began to try to seal. Doing so does speed up the parsing a lot. However, the resolution is increased by 0.5 each time. Sitting there from noon to wee hours, Shiyu watched the last hundredth on the parsing progress bar. It's only a step away, but the last step is often the most difficult. It has been an hour, and the resolution still shows no sign of increasing. Shiyu felt sleepy already. Analysis completed. Congratulations to host for acquiring new skills. Fire style, fire dragon technique. Nature transformation fire. Mastered ninjutsu and got nature transformation by the way. This was unexpected. So I'm now a dual attribute ninja. Generally, only Jonin can possess the second chakra attribute. And he is just a kid who didn't graduate from ninja school. Fire dragon technique. The power of this fire style is not bad. Shiyu is very satisfied. Uncle Masano, thank you for your ninjutsu scroll. I will definitely repay you 1,000 times in the future. A ninjutsu scroll brought Shiyu more than just a ninjutsu, a chakra attribute. The most important thing is that with only the scroll of ninjutsu, he can get himself a ninjutsu, a chakra attribute, and then Shiyu wants to obtain other attributes. It's very simple. Now I have both fire and water chakra attributes. Unfortunately, it's not water or soil. The combination of water and soil chakra can form wood style. It seems that fire and water can be combined into boil style. Shiyu suddenly had some ideas when he thought of this. Relying on active skills, I don't know if the two chakra can be integrated into a new blood succession limit. Boil style. The power it has is quite good. The strange power that erupts after chakra boils, and Shiyu can be stuck in a state of unlimited physical strength, then I am afraid that he will directly become the king of violent destruction. From the beginning of the village to the end of the village. But there is no scroll, relying on my own talent to fuse two kinds of chakra. Don't think about it, it's impossible, but if the active skill can be analyzed, it will be different. Even at a slower pace, Shiyu is perfectly acceptable. Daxian reference mark. You can try it. Even the skills have come out to talk about it, so let's try it. Shiyu felt the chakra in this body, the result of performing 2 nature transformations at the same time before, and Shiyu still clearly remembered that feeling. Now I have to take another risk. If I am not careful, I will die. Anyway, I've already died once. If you don't have the courage, you won't be able to become a powerful ninja. Single quote. Shiyu gritted his teeth. Fight. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.